What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Excited to be before you guys today. Got a little bit of housekeeping and we got a full show. You know, it's Monday, so after Monday or after the weekend, we get deep down and dirty into the news because it is so much happened and so much happened over the weekend. Glad that you guys are tuned in today. What's up, all of my friends? I see y'all inside of the chat. Said this is Bates, Treese, Andrew, Low Key Trill, Trini Life, Purple Haze, Zay Crypto, Jennifer. I appreciate you. Slan Sells Cars. What up, though? Cartier 82 says it's rubber ducky time. Major Gains, Will Nola, Purple Haze, Treese. I see y'all in the chat. What up to all of my friends and family? Shout out to everybody. Everybody that is working at this time. Shout out to the people that's staying at home at this time. Shout out to the people on PTO, taking vacation days. Shout out to the people that's sick that said that, you know what, I want to catch the Millionaire Morning Show to make sure I stay up to date on the news because I tuned in a little bit for the morning news, like on a local TV station or whatever, and it's absolute trash. It's absolute trash, to say the least. If you guys have not sent this to your family and friends, then you are severely hindering them from educating themselves on how they can be the best version of themselves while at the same time being entertained. So I would advise for you guys to actually send it to your friends and family. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. If this is your second time here, make sure you subscribe and hit a notification bell so that you'll be informed when we go live. And then make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Actually, I would say that since this is the 31st, this is Monday, March 31st, 2025, year of our Lord. Wait until tomorrow to join the Bag Chasers unless you are paying the yearly thing. And then if you do a yearly, then you get like 15% off or something like that. But wait till tomorrow till you join the Bag Chasers. And then we're going to run it up from there. Y'all saying Trump third term. Y'all want to see Trump on the third term? Well, we definitely going to talk about that today. So let me get a little bit of the housekeeping out of the way. So tomorrow, we will be doing a Millionaire Morning Show. Hopefully from the studio. I'm thinking from the studio. Would it be better if we do it from the studio? Tomorrow we're doing a Millionaire Morning Show right here, so nothing's changed. We have the Q show tonight, so that will be live stream. We never miss. Patreon members, I am doing a Patreon member live stream. I didn't do it this weekend because I had to prepare for what I'm about to tell you right now. So we'll talk about that. But again, make sure y'all join the Patreon tomorrow. Wednesday will be a pre-recorded show. All right. Wednesday is going to be pre-recorded, but again, we don't miss. So we're shooting that Tuesday night / Tuesday morning. So essentially, It's going to be overnight. I'm shooting that overnight right here in the studio. And I am going to prepare a show for you guys so that I can make sure that you guys stay informed on what's going on because the Millionaire Morning Show continues no matter what. All right. So we're going to premiere a show, a 2.5+ hour show on Wednesday that I'm going to shoot for you guys because I have to catch an international flight. Thursday, we right back at it, Millionaire Morning Show. Friday, we right back at it, Millionaire Morning Show. And all next week, everything is normal, okay? So let me just give y'all an update. Nothing changes. Same thing as usual, except I'm not going to be doing a Wednesday show live. That will be a premiere, all right? So don't be dusty. I don't want to hear no excuses from y'all. Y'all still need to make sure that y'all tuning in, and you need to make sure that you tapped in so that you can get the information so you can make yourself successful. Also, we will be doing, and that's again another reason why I have to prepare. I have to make sure that everything goes without a hitch because I have a long flight on Wednesday. But again, y'all got to make sure that y'all tapped in. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. And we're definitely going to be up to date. All right. So with that being said, we got a lot to cover today. We got to go over to Chicago. They've been named the murder capital of the United States of America for the 13th time in a row. And we got to go over to Mississippi to see what it's no state taxes. I promised y'all that I would deep dive into that. Trump is running for a third term. Jasmine Crockett is under fire. Tesla protest is underway. Stephen A. Smith is accused of being MAGA. Lots to go over. All right. So we got a full show for y'all today. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Shout out to everybody that's tuned into the vlog too. Why do people keep hitting me up and saying, Anton, your content has been hijacked and it's a alternative channel of you? It's not. That's my channel. That's another channel of mine where I'm vlogging every day. Pretty much every day. I might miss a day here and there depending on what's going on. But it is a channel. Think about it like this, all right? We got to use our context clues. If it was an alternative channel that's putting out my information, how are they vlogging with me every day? How are they recording me? If I'm putting out a vlog from what happened the day before, how are they getting that information to put it out without me knowing it? You see what I'm saying? So it's not an alternative channel. It's my channel. Darth Anton is my channel, except the A is with a V. Darth, the A is with a V. So that's my channel and it's my information. All right. You thought that too, Jen, at first? Yeah, that's my channel. So if you want to know what's going on, and I don't advise y'all tune in because it's very toxic. If y'all want to know what's going on a daily basis of what's happening behind the scenes of my life, then you can tune into that channel. I'm sure it's somewhere on the internet. And I pretty much vlog almost every day, at least 6 days a week, but most of the time 7 days a week. And that's that. All right. Just want to give y'all an update. Also, last but not least, if you see anybody reach out to you from an alternative account, whether it be somebody in the comments saying, hey, come and join my crypto trading firm, or hey, I'm going to reach out to you because I'm Anton and I want to personally get your information so that you can join my investment team. You see anything in the comments that say something like that, it's not me, it's spam. It's unfortunate that I have to make that announcement, but it's true, it's spam. So that's number one. Number two, if you see any other alternative social media account, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, I'm never going to reach out to you on WhatsApp. I don't have any alternative accounts. Those is other people that's finessing, probably some Nigerian guys scamming you. And be careful, okay? It's unfortunate. I try to catch the spam as much as I can. I don't have the capacity to be able to do everything. So if you see somebody that is scamming you or reaching out to you in the comments or giving you my information and saying, hey, I want to do, that's not me. That's a finesse. Be careful. Don't get finessed, all right? Be careful. My only social media accounts that I'm active on is the ones that is down in the description of this video. All right? So now that we got that out the way, y'all ready to get started with the show? Maybe we should get started with prayer because I don't want to go off the rails. Y'all think we should get started with prayer first? Lord, bless us, Jesus. Bless us to continue to hold it down. Bless us to be fruitful. Bless us to be, bless us to multiply and utilize the skills that you gave us to continue to run it up and be successful. Bless us not to run in the victim Olympics. Bless everybody to be productive on their job and also to be proactive in making sure that they're taking care of business and they're not falling victim to waiting on something to happen to them, but bless us to be proactive and take care of our business. I love you. I appreciate you. You said we're 2 or 3 are gathered in your name. There you are in the midst of us. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. I think it's going to be a phenomenal week. It's going to be an absolutely awesome week. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to get started with the show? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. First thing first is we got to go over to Chi-Town. Chi-Town. Got to go over to Chi-Town. Chicago. What's going on, family? What's going on? For everybody that is adamant about representation and you only care about the look of a person and you think that they are supposed to be for you just because they are the same color as you from a construct that was given to you by other people that didn't have your best interest at heart, I want you to pay attention to this because I've been on Chicago's neck for a long time and everybody keep telling me, Anton, don't talk about Chicago. Anton, don't talk about Chicago. Okay, so the major news networks can talk about it. The local news networks can talk about it. Y'all can keep killing each other, but I'm supposed to ignore it because you don't like the fact that I'm bringing visibility to a problem that you should address within your own city. It's people that's not even from Chicago. It's people that are from Chicago. It's people that's from Chicago that don't even live in Chicago anymore that somehow feel some kind of tie or loyalty to it for some reason that I don't understand it. Hey, before we get into the show, let me ask y'all a question. Why do y'all feel compelled to be so down for a city that you don't even own any property in? Why do you feel so compelled to be so down for a state and a city that continues to steal y'all properties, and that's one of the reasons why they call it Crook County? Why do you continue to be so down for something that is not conducive for your family and it's a greater chance for you to die walking outside to school than it is for you to actually jump on a plane and for the plane to fall out the sky? Why y'all so loyal to a city and to streets and the blocks that you don't own anything of? We'll get there. We'll get there. Stockholm Syndrome, your car? It's YN season. You know it's YN season when the weather change. We'll get there. We'll get there. Let's go ahead and jump into it, y'all. Chicago has been named the murder capital for the 13th year in a row. That is not a designation that you want. They have been named the murder capital, but this is part of the reason why, and this is Brandon Johnson explaining how these are just large gatherings. It doesn't really matter how many people gather inside of and tear up all of the property that's in Chicago. Check it out.
The mayor's comments came during an event here at Navy Pier directed at teenagers from at-risk neighborhoods, providing them with something to do, connecting them with resources for summer jobs and other activities. And it is more of this that the mayor believes would go a long way to preventing disruptions like what happened last night.
The reckless and dangerous behavior that was exhibited last night, no one wants to see that, and we're not going to tolerate it.
Mayor Brandon Johnson today reacting to last night's so-called teen takeover in Streeterville, where dozens of teenagers congregated near Cityfront Plaza at McClurgan, Illinois, creating a disruption that led to a 15-year-old boy being shot in the leg. Second Ward Alderman Brian Hopkins earlier adding more detail to what he described as 3 to 4 hours of uncontrolled chaos.
They were blocking traffic, jumping on cars, harassing pedestrians, stealing from the stores. There were several fights. Tasers were deployed.
It is not immediately clear what led to the shots being fired. The incident coming on the final weekend of spring break for Chicago students. It is a weekend during which the city also hosted its 4th annual My Chai, My Future Teen Bash event at Navy Pier, where it's estimated between 1,000 and 1,500 teens came out to participate.
Do y'all see the teens that's at the Navy Pier at the sanctioned event? Let me show it to y'all again.
Estimated between 1,000 and 1,500.
Now, this is not me creating a narrative. This is me addressing an issue and a problem. Y'all always call me insensitive, but I'm not the one that got my kids out here running and screaming and killing people. My child, for example, over the past week was at a Taekwondo conference, and she was competing, winning another gold medal, and she was working with her teammates and being productive and being happy and actually traveling the world and seeing things, and amongst the diverse group of people that are white, Asian, and black and Hispanic, and all of her friends are, you know what I'm saying, they look like the whole gamut of what the world is. My child is doing things that are productive and constructive and helping her teammates and helping to coach people, coaching new students and things like that. So when they come at you, when they say you a sellout, I'll say that you a sellout. You're the parents of the people that you support, the ones that's on TikTok saying that they voted for Kamala Harris, all of their kids is in the street. Now, when I look at the sanctioned event, when I look at this sanctioned event that was for Chicago youth, that less than 1,000 people turned up at, but then I look at the flip side of all of the team takeovers that was in the street past 12 o'clock at night, what are we left to think? How are we left to put this together? How are we left to make sense of this? Somebody said everybody child ain't lucky. Another Dusty. Is it that your child is supposed to be lucky, or are you supposed to be intentional with how you raise your child? Listen, it's your fault if you had a child out of wedlock. It's your fault if you had a child, but you had no way to provide for it. You opened up your legs, and it's nobody's responsibility to take care of your ugly, foolish, bastardly child except for you. I'm tired of the community sitting there making excuses as to why their children is supposed to be unruly. So you can't do what you're supposed to do. Your child are the ones that suffer for the consequences of you. It ain't about your child being lucky. It's about you being a better parent. Are you dumb or are you stupid? And this is the reason why everybody can't have children. Everybody's child ain't lucky. Is that luck? Is it luck that I keep my child busy and we're active parents in her life and we made sure that we didn't have her out of wedlock and we made sure that we worked together and stayed together to raise her up to be in the admonition of God? Is that luck, or is that being intentional about how you raise your children? You an idiot. You an idiot if you decide that you want to have a child out of wedlock. You an idiot if you decide that you want to have children without actually having a way to pay for their well-being and create the best environment possible. You an idiot if you have multiple different children, but you couldn't even afford the one that you had. You're an idiot if your child is... I'm holding the parents accountable for their ugly, stupid, gang-ridden, robbing children that's going to be menaces to society in the future, that's also going to uphold the prison industrial complex and still vote for the Democratic plantation. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. So dumb.
Teens came out to participate, some saying more of this is what is needed.
At first, when I came here, I'm like, this is going to be so corny, and then I'm in here, and it's like so
See, they
fun.
don't even think that this is cool.
So many things
they thought it was going to be corny.
So much of a variety.
Simmons City Council saying what is needed is a change in the city's curfew for minors from the current 10 p.m. to 8 p.m.
That can be used to quell the violence before it starts. The police have asked for this tool. I think we need to give it to them. It's an extraordinarily difficult thing to do, to contain 300 teenagers when you only have about 60 police officers.
Changing the curfew is something that Alderman Hopkins first attempted to do last summer. At the time, City Council deferred the vote, sending the proposal back to committee. It is one that Mayor Johnson opposes, saying that enforcing the current curfew is enough.
See, Brandon Johnson don't really care. But we're going to continue on with the story. We haven't gotten to the thick of things. This is a better summary of what happened during the whole teen takeover over this past weekend.
I actually believe, Anthony, that the rain may have kept a lot of teenagers from returning here today to the AMC Theater, but I will share with you all, there was a successful event held earlier in the day at Navy Pier aimed to provide a safe space for teenagers. This, of course, comes after a lot of unruly behavior taking place here in Streeterville on last night. AMC Theater's Streeterville location loaded with Chicago police. Here's why.
I thought one of these kids was going to get hit by a car or a bus.
Here's just a glimpse of the chaos. 8 p.m. Friday, teenagers storming East Illinois Street. The city estimating 300 teens gathered for about 4 hours. There were fights, a 15-year-old shot in the leg, an 18-year-old also stabbed nearby. Chicago teenagers deserve to enjoy Navy Pier, the city, just like anybody else, but they have to behave.
Absolutely. What they're not welcome to do is break windows, steal from stores, jump on cars, block traffic, intimidate pedestrians, and shoot guns into crowds. That happened last night.
12 people were arrested, including 2 for aggravated assault to a police officer. From spring break opportunities to 29,000 summer jobs coming, even Park District events. The city and its partners have organized more activities to keep teens productive. Earlier today, a teen bash was held at Navy Pier. 1,500 young people in attendance for video games, skateboarding, and a massive job fair.
We got a butterfly museum. We got stuff for animal shelters. There's so many opportunities, fireman opportunities.
Back outside of AMC around 4 p.m., officers huddled in position, preparing for a possible second round. Rodney Phillips is with the Crisis Prevention Response Unit.
They're not going to go where y'all already set up. They already coordinating on TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat on where they going to be next, fam. If they knew where you, listen, if they wanted you to know where they was going to be, then that's what they was set up as. That's not how they setting it up. That's not how it move, bro. If you want to understand how to quell this situation, you got to start thinking like a YN. That's just the facts. You got to think like a YN. What you think that they was out there looking for jobs? You don't know what they looking for? I'll tell you what they looking for. They looking for violence. They're looking to retaliate against their ops, and they're also looking to get some box. They trying to figure out where the holes at. That's what they say. Hey man, where the holes at, bro? That's what they looking for. And you know what the worst part about this situation is that Chicago is down over 2,000 police officers, meaning that they don't have the capacity to stop it even if they wanted to, because the majority of the resources went to illegal migrants and to removing ShotSpotter and for the administration to continue to steal, while they're also advocating for raising taxes against you guys. And y'all keep voting blue, and it don't even matter because the administration is a reflection of the culture.
90% of the kids that come down here, they come down here for a safe space to enjoy themselves, to escape the things that's going on in their neighborhoods.
Mayor Brendan Johnson saying, quote, "No one wants to see the reckless and dangerous behavior that was exhibited last night. We are not going to tolerate it. Also, those who have caused chaos will be held accountable," he says. If there's something you could say to the young people that
they won't even lock up. They won't even lock up illegal migrants when they not doing what they're supposed to do. What makes you think that they're gonna lock up the YNs that's out here running rampant and running reckless? What makes you think that they're gonna take care of the irresponsible ones if they out here running rampant and running reckless? That's what you think that they're gonna do? You think they own it? All right. Well, let me share with you what Chicago's latest designation has become.
Well, Chicago is named America's murder capital for the 13th consecutive year. And Democrat leaders are now being called out for demonizing police and touting a declining crime rate despite the concerns of residents from all across that city.
Chicago is now been named. And it's funny because, you know, when you young and you dumb and you're a liberal and you ignorant, you think that that's a badge of honor. People walk around and be like, man, I'm from Chicago. I wish you would. And everybody is supposed to be scared of you. You know what I'm saying? That's not a badge of honor. That's disrespectful to your community and to the people that actually care about you. We'll sit there and we waste time on protesting Tesla. We sit there and we'll waste time on getting mad at Trump. You don't have to worry about that. The real enemy is in your own communities. You have zero, and I mean absolutely zero, time to be wasted on anything outside of cleaning up your own communities. Strong, well-behaved, great parents, tolerant communities, guess what? They don't need a large police force. They could have a population that rivals yours, and they don't even need a large police force. You know why? because they self-police. They hold each other accountable. They make sure that you don't drive on your grass. They confront you if they got a problem, and you can get as mad as you want to. And if you don't like it, then you could just move. But they're going to keep confronting you. They're going to continue to fine you. They're going to continue to hold you accountable. You can't have dilapidated property. They're going to fine you. They're going to take care of business, and they're going to make sure that the culture is right. You think that white people are racist because they freeze you out. And it ain't even white people, because it's a bunch of poor white people too. You think that people are racist because they freeze you out of the neighborhood because they require you to meet the expectation of what their kids is requiring for them to be safe when they walking home from school. No, they not racist against you. They're racist against the culture that you bring into those communities. You're not going to come in and make things difficult. They're going to make it so difficult to where you either comply or you move. But don't nobody want to be a part of the murder capital. You can have that designation. Nobody wants to be in the murder capital.
Let's bring in Raymond Lopez, Democratic Chicago alderman. Your city, unfortunately, is the murder capital. Raymond, why?
You know what? The reason is simple, John. We have a political elite that is in love with criminality, that encourages criminal behavior, pushes down our police officers, demonizes their work on a daily basis, and elevates the perpetrators of crime as the victims of society themselves. And that kind of coddling has brought us to where we are today for the 13th year in a row. Right now, the disregard for human life is so high in the city of Chicago that you can literally have a group of 100 teens enjoying a warm day and almost expect at least 2 or 3 to be shot. And we, in fact, saw that just 2 days ago, where a 15-year-old was shot in a crowd walking down the Magnificent Mile. And many of our politicians, like Brandon Johnson and others, continue to make excuses, continue to rationalize this behavior as opposed to hold them and their parents accountable for what's going on.
There was a congressional hearing earlier this month at which Mayor Brandon Johnson appeared, and Congressman Darren LaHood got into a bit of a sparring match with him. I want to play this for our viewers.
Last year, Chicago had 573 murders.
Down.
Okay, but I want to compare that to the city of New York, that is almost 2/3 the size of Chicago, 337 murders. So you had 573 murders in the city of Chicago, and you're 1/3 the size.
That's the lowest amount in 5 years under my leadership.
Okay, and you look at the level of violent crime.
And let me add some additional context. They're juicing the numbers. They're absolutely juicing the numbers. I have friends in the Chicago Police Department. You can't look. It's exponentially worse than what they're even presenting it to be. I have friends in the Chicago Police Department. They tell me that it is intentional, that they are underreporting, or they won't even respond to certain things, or they've changed to where you can only label it a certain thing if it goes past a certain point, and then they label it as violent crime. Real talk. Real talk. They are 100% juicing the numbers to try to make it seem like it's better than what it is. But you talk to anybody that live in any of these neighborhoods, and even on college campuses, people are scared to go outside. And the minute that the weather change, they already know that it's going to get ugly. They're juicing the numbers so that he can say, oh no, it's down. And then people will walk outside and say, well, how come it don't feel down? How come we have so many vacancies inside of the, what is it, the Magnificent Mile, the Miracle Mile, whatever it is that they have in Chicago, downtown Chicago? How come tourism is down? How come the police response times are so low? By the time that the police get there, the criminals has already got away, and they're not even taking a police report in the same way that it would if they had arrived at a time that they can actually stop the crime. But the police officers are also hamstrung, and they're down over 2,000 police officers. They juice in the numbers, 100%.
Criminal sexual offenses and drug dealers.
All violent crime is down in Chicago.
When I hear your answer, no one in this room should be surprised that your approval rating is 6.6%.
The mayor seems satisfied with the way things are going. What do you say?
Well, I think acknowledging the 6.6% approval rating was probably the only truthful thing that happened at that hearing, because even in that instance, The mayor was deflecting. He was lying, because the reason that the numbers are down in his estimation is because they've been able to use jurisdictional overlap to try and negate even more numbers being added to our totals. If it happened on an expressway or a county road, then they don't count in the city of Chicago, even if it happened within our borders. But what I do know is this.
See what I'm saying? You see how they juicing the numbers? Oh, if it happens on an expressway, if the police chase, make sure you designate it here. Oh, wait a minute. If, the person is from this city, but it happened inside of Chicago, or, you know what, if the person escaped past our jurisdiction, then you know what? That's not our responsibility. That's your responsibility. They're juicing the numbers to try to make it seem like violent crime is down. Violent crime is up more than ever before over in Chicago.
Is that people aren't calling 911 anymore. People are afraid. Police are unable to do their job because of cancellation of gunshot detection technology and other things. We know that the perception of the violence in the city of Chicago is real, because the violence in the city of Chicago is real. And the mayor can try to do that performance as much as he wants, but the people know better, and they can feel it, especially on the south and west sides and predominantly African-American communities, where you have entrepreneurs trying to pursue the American dream and are being vandalized, shoplifted, and destroyed simply because of the location, because the mayor refuses to call out communities for the behavior that's going on in them.
I want to put up a graphic that shows the year-to-date crime statistics for your city. Now, these are according to the Chicago Police Department. These might be some of the numbers that the mayor was referring to. Murders down 10%, robbery down 34%, battery down 15%, carjacking down 31%, total crimes, according to the police department, down 17%. Are they fudging those numbers?
They're absolutely fudging those numbers, because they're reclassifying and subdividing them into various different ways to avoid them being included in the total number of each of those various crime categories.
Yep.
For example, there are 5 different ways to refer to carjacking, of which 4 out of those 5 will be reported as the main crime statistic, where everything else will be downplayed as something else or re-referred as something else. But we know that that semantical argument does not reflect the truth of what's going on in the city of Chicago. Crime is not down here, and the lack of reporting of crime is up. When you look at the robberies, the battery, the assaults, people are simply not calling 911 anymore. And if that is what you're putting your victory lap on, that people refuse to call 911, then you are doing a very poor job as mayor and truly don't understand the fact that crime has not changed, just people's accommodating it has.
So, Chicago. Shout out to y'all. Crime is absolutely being underreported, but that's okay, because we're going to continue to keep y'all. See, I got a little distracted for a while because we had so much international news that I couldn't necessarily address what was happening in the city of Chicago as far as the crime being accurately reported, or all of the issues and the problems that had been showing itself. And I know that he had been called to Senate hearings to account for immigration and sanctuary cities and things. But we back. We on top of it. Again, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these Cash Apps and Super Chats. First of all, I want to give an acknowledgement to my guy, Mike That Dude. Shout out to Mike That Dude on Cash App. I appreciate you. Also for Super Chats, and I'd like you guys to know that we don't ask for it, but I absolutely love to acknowledge the people that hold the platform down. Victor Williams says, good morning, family. What up, Vic? I appreciate you. Rich Rogers, I appreciate you also. Thank you for holding me down. Thank you, Rich. Maceo 727 in the building says, was there an After Hours Friday or did I miss it? It absolutely was an After Hours Friday. Now, you know you missed it. Eric Williams says, what's good, Anton? This morning, I've been saying this for a long time, as the parents need to be charged at least 5 to 10 years in prison. I don't know about 5 to 10 years, but I do think the parents need to be held accountable. Quentin Taranto, I guess he meant to say Tarantino in his name. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Mr. Joe says Chicago's Archdiocese is going to have a busy summer. Cuddy says they need to borrow RoboCop from Detroit. Trey D, I appreciate you, says Dusty Liberal. Urban cities always get nominated for RIP capitals. Nurse Hart, shout out to Nurse Hart. I appreciate you. Thank you, Nurse. You know, nurses love AD, right? Just Christian in the building says him saying it's the lowest in 5 years is like when the left says Trump only got a 49% of the popular vote. Doesn't matter, you're still winning. Shout out to Just Christian. Wrath Unique says, what up, Anton? These YNs is tweaking. Agreed. Jeff, what up, Jeff? Says, my high school security guard back at Chicago is now an officer, and he's stressing about this. I'm definitely not going back while Mohawk is there. Listen, you might as well go ahead and say you ain't going to go back for the next 7 to 8 years, big dog. I think you should go back. I think y'all need to take control of y'all city. The same way that we suffered through it in other cities, I think y'all need to go ahead and take back y'all city. Shout out to y'all. Again, thank you to everybody that continues to hold us down. Thank you to everybody that supported me on multiple different platforms. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's get into the next segment of the show. All right? And I'll be reading super chats throughout the show, obviously. Mississippi. I thought that this was a great, incredible story. So Mississippi has now decided that they wanted to completely eliminate state taxes, income taxes, all right? I'll explain this and I'll break it down for you guys in detail. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Meanwhile, Mississippi taking matters into its own hands to put more money in the pockets of residents. The governor signing an historic bill this week to abolish the state's income tax, becoming the 10th state in the nation to eliminate income tax. Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive is the governor of Mississippi, Tate Reeves. Governor, great to have you this weekend. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria. It's great to see you, and it's a great day to be an American, and it's a great day to be a Mississippian.
Well, this bill has been in the works for 15 years. Tell us what it will mean for the Mississippi economy.
Well, this is, Maria, this is our one big, beautiful bill in Mississippi. We've been working to cut taxes and moving towards eliminating the income tax, and I was finally able to sign a bill into law this week that over time gets us to accomplish exactly that goal. In Mississippi, we believe government ought to take less so that our people get to keep more of their money.
And when you look at other states that have no income tax, you've seen a huge surge of individuals moving from high tax states to low tax states or no income tax states. Is that what you're expecting?
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you see not only economic growth in those states with no income tax, you also see population growth in those states. And we think we have a beautiful state in Mississippi. We've got a beautiful coastline on the Gulf of America. And I will just tell you that we have seen significant economic growth over the last 5 years. We've seen over $30 billion in new capital investment flowing to our state. And we think by eliminating our income tax, we're going to see not only more income and capital flow into our state, we think we're going to see more people flow into our state. And so it's an opportunity for us to be more competitive on the national landscape. And we think it's going to work beautifully.
And that is a great point. So currently, I believe there are 9, and now Mississippi will become the 10th state of the United States of America to not have an income tax. So we pay federal taxes already. Trump is working on a national scale to actually put us in position over the next 3 to 4 years to start to lower taxes and reduce the amount of money that we give into the federal government. Well, why do we give so much money to the federal government? Because we have social programs, we have fraud, waste, and abuse. That was one of the reasons why we have DOGE come in, the Department of Government Efficiency. We have people taking advantage of the system. We have legislators that are incapable of managing a budget and keeping costs under whatever it is that they're taking in from a state. And so these states have become interdependent on you guys paying more and more and more taxes. So, for example, you can take Maryland, right? Governor Westmore is working feverishly to try to figure out how they can raise taxes. Why? Because higher taxes actually temporarily fills your coffers and plugs budget deficits, but it doesn't solve for the fundamental problem of why your state is in a budget deficit in the first place. California is another state, and Los Angeles. Just last week, I did a video where I showed y'all that Los Angeles is the city of Los Angeles is operating at a $1 billion budget deficit. So they have to figure out, A, how they can cut costs, laying people off, so on and so forth, and B, how they can raise revenue, which you can't raise revenue by having better businesses because you don't have a business-friendly environment. So what happens is the state is taking in income and they're overtaxing the citizens, which then calls for the citizens to have a higher cost of living and for them to want to leave. What you should be doing is eliminating the costs that costs come with the residents by then removing all of the red tape, all of the barriers to entry, all of the additional monies that the government is taking in. So we need smaller government, and you need to make sure that you operate on the basic resources that is needed. So you need infrastructure, you need police, right? Public safety, education, which is also subsidized by the federal government. It's also subsidized by the federal government. Those are the three fundamental things. All of these bloated jobs and all of that stuff is costing taxpayers. You guys are paying for that. Y'all pay for the police presence. You pay for your politicians. You pay for all of these things. And the more that you reduce the cost to operate and living, the more that people are willing to spend, which then generates more revenue that goes in the government coffers. So the less that you tax people, the more that you take in. That's the formula. The less that you tax businesses, the more that they then invest in your city, or they invest in your state, or they invest in different counties, and they bring additional jobs, which then brings an additional tax base, which raises revenues and then continues to bolster the state and the cities in which they invested in. And so what the governor is proposing, and what he's gotten done over his 5 years in office so far, is he's been able to effectively set up the precedent to where they're going to eliminate taxes, which then eventually will phase out, and that'll make it a more investable state. And you know what the funniest part about the whole thing is that I was listening, because I did a little mini segment on this on the Anton Daniels channel. And you know the people that was in the comments that was complaining about us eliminate taxes? Liberals, Democrats, black people. Liberals, Democrats, black people. It must be a catch. What do you mean it must be a catch? Somebody said in the comments, it was the funniest thing that I've ever seen in my life. He said, well, that would mean you ain't going to get no more refunds. Sir, why would you need a refund from something you never paid into? That's the whole point, is that you get to keep your whole check and not have to pay income taxes on a state level, which makes it more attractive and more money in your pocket for you to be able to do what you want to do. I don't want to give the government money so that they can give me a portion of it back. Why would I need a refund from something that I'm not paying into? Why is it so difficult to understand? And black people are always the last to the party. Mississippi is operating on a surplus. More people are building there. More jobs are coming there. More people are deciding to move there. By the time that you catch the wave, because you know us, we only want to go to the places that's been popularized. If we can't spend a whole bunch of money to try to prove to ourselves that we belong there, if we can't go into a place that we can't afford just so we can try to finesse to be there, then we don't want to be a part of it. We always get to the party late. We don't get there before the investment starts. We don't get there so that you can create the environment and then be blessed by building up and building homes and building infrastructure and starting businesses there. We don't get there in the beginning. We wait till other people get there so that we can then have to prove ourselves and say, you know what? Man, it's booming over there. We need to get over there. So you got to wait till it get booming. You don't create the environment that booms, and then you get all of the benefits, all of the money, and all of the blessings as a result of it. You got to wait for other people to invest there, and then you got to figure it out. Nope, you want to go to the same dumb places. I want to go to Atlanta because that's where all of my community is. I want to go to Houston. I want to go to LA. What up to New York City? Same conversations every single day. Always the last to the party. You know one of my favorite places to visit? I visit it all the time. I go at least 3 or 4 times a year. A lot of people don't even, some people know it because you've been following a vlog on the Anton Daniels channel. Some people know it, some people don't. You know what my favorite place to visit is? Biloxi, Mississippi. Biloxi is lit. It's lit. I go every year for the car, whatever the cruise is, the car cruise thing. I usually go right after spring break. If my daughter decides that she's going to go to spring break because she's not at a taekwondo event or something, and I'll hit Biloxi, Mississippi because it's low key, right off the water, 6, 7 different casinos, all got a dope strip. I usually stay at the Beau Rivage. The people is absolutely awesome, and I catch public transportation everywhere and go to the mall. One of my favorite places to stay. Huge, huge Air Force presence down in Biloxi, Mississippi. I love Biloxi, Mississippi. About an hour, I can drive right over to New Orleans. If I want to go over to Mardi Gras and hang out over there, I drive to New Orleans and take less than an hour for me to drive over to New Orleans, go and party over there, head back to Biloxi, Mississippi. They treat me like gold. Treat me like gold. Some of the best restaurants that I've ever experienced. As a matter of fact, I've had conversations with people that's on my team and said, you know what, I think I want to invest in Biloxi. It's a huge opportunity. Massive opportunity. Massive opportunity in Biloxi, Mississippi. And not just Biloxi, but in Mississippi in general. But we so short-sighted. We should be looking at this news and saying, wait a minute, where the business opportunities at? What's the play here? How can we capitalize off of this? How can we work with city leaders to invest in it, right? What's the cost of doing business? Do they have a lot of red tape? Oh, wait a minute. They got a population increase. I mean, it's a lot of people going there. Why they going there and what's happening over there? Where the money at? We don't think like that. We just got to make sure that we party. We want to go and spend a bunch of money on stuff that ain't add value into our lives, and we can't capitalize off of nothing. It's so dumb. So dumb.
It's just incredible. And I love that you referred to the Gulf of America. I've talked to President Trump about his own tax cut plan. And one question I always ask.
Jake, always being dusty as usual. Nah, bro, you just like to gamble. Biloxi only fresh if you gamble. Bro, it's better places to gamble than Biloxi, Mississippi. I can go to Vegas and get free rooms for the rest of the year at the Vidar, the Aria, the Biloxi. I mean, not the Biloxi. Every single MGM property. I don't need to go there to gamble. You go there because the pool overlooked the whole Gulf Coast. But we know that Jake, on a regular basis, when he pop up, he gonna pop up with some stupid narrative because he wants to be seen and he wants some visibility. Anybody that has seen any of my vlogs know exactly why I go down to Biloxi.
Ask him is, how are you going to offset? If you're going to cut taxes and eliminate the income tax like you're doing it, where does the revenue come from?
Well, I've talked to the president about his desires to cut taxes as well. And for us in Mississippi, you got to know where we start from. We're going to collect about $7.8 billion in total revenue this year. And our current budget spends just barely over $7 billion. So we have a 3/4.
Do you hear what he said? They're taking in an additional $2.2 billion a year in income taxes. But their government is only running at about $7 billion in costs total, which means that even if they eliminated the income taxes, they still have an $800 million surplus. That means that they're running the government efficiently to where they don't have to take in additional revenue just so they can fill their pocketbooks and then steal a bunch of money. Even with the elimination of income taxes, and they're growing their economy, meaning that there's more businesses that are moving in there and creating jobs, then that means that they still have an $800 million surplus above whatever it was that they would eliminate from income taxes. So all of the money should go back to the people. If it's funded by the people, why wouldn't the money go back to the people? First, you have to learn how to manage the government efficiently. If you can have a budget surplus, then you figure out what is the gap between how much you additionally taking in from income taxes. That's how much you want to eliminate. You still got an $800 million budget surplus. That means that we can eliminate income taxes and then still raise revenue for the state. That's a win-win all the way across the board. But again, it takes for competent leaders to be able to manage the government efficiently in order for them to eliminate the cost of living for you. Y'all want to talk about inflation? Y'all want to talk about the cost of living? You want to talk about how much money you need to be pouring back into your community? Well, if the government is taking it all to subsidize other people's lifestyles, then this is exactly why they're eliminating property, well, not property taxes, income taxes.
Quarters of $1 billion annual surplus in the state of Mississippi. And so I believe that if you allow government to keep that $750 million surplus, they will find a way to spend it. But I think it's better for your economy to let individual Mississippians spend more of their money, which will then grow the economy. So the combination of more capital investment in our state, more job creation in our state, more income growth through per capita income growth, which Mississippi is in the third quarter of 2024 was the fourth fastest growing per capita income growth in all of America. We're going to see significant economic output in our state, and that's going to lead to us being able to fund the necessary services in government while also letting our people keep more of their own money.
Well, that is terrific. And like President Trump, it sounds like you're counting on growth. And that growth will create the revenue that I'm referring to. Look, the president is pushing to cut taxes on a national level. By downsizing the IRS, he's creating this external revenue service, replacing income tax on U.S. citizens with tariffs on foreign countries. Just this week, the president announced a new round of levies on foreign-made cars. Watch.
We're going to charge countries for doing business.
Everybody talk negatively about Mississippi, but most of the people have never been there. A lot of people talk negatively about places that they've never been to. That always happens. Oh man, this is what's happening down there. This is how you know. You ain't never been there. You ain't never experienced it. You ain't never kicked it with the people. I done been to Mississippi probably 10 times. I've never had a problem. Never had one problem, been treated like gold the entire day. The people is cool, been all in the neighborhoods, the malls, the different locations outside of there. I've never had a problem whatsoever. It's always the people that talk negatively about a place that has never been there. Every time.
In our country and taking our jobs, taking our wealth, taking a lot of things that they've been taking over the years. What we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States.
Governor, auto manufacturing, one of the top sectors in Mississippi with more than 200 auto manufacturers and over 500,000 vehicles produced in the state every year. How are these tariffs going to affect your state?
Well, Maria, there's no shortage of opinions as with respect to President Trump's tariff proposals. But let me tell you what our experience has been in Mississippi over the last couple of months. We've had tremendous success since I've been governor now over 5 years of not only investment from American companies, but also direct foreign investment. What we've seen over the last couple of months is our deal flow and our potential deals in our economic development shop have never been greater. We are seeing potential investments from countries all over the world because they're going to produce more in America. We've seen companies that are headquartered here that maybe are doing manufacturing in other parts of the world that are looking to bring those manufacturing operations back on shore. The fact of the matter is that we have the potential for a manufacturing boom in America, and Mississippi is better positioned than most states because we never gave up on manufacturing. That's what we do in Mississippi. We make stuff, and we make it really, really well. And so these proposed tariffs and what they have meant to our deal flow has been nothing but positive. And I will tell you, I've got a team going overseas literally this weekend. This will be the third trip to a foreign country in the last 3 weeks. There are lots of opportunities out there for governors and for those in states that want to see manufacturing relocate in the United States. And that's been our experience.
Wow, how wonderful that you...
The opportunities is going to be there. It's going to be a huge opportunity. It's going to be a lot of people that miss. It's going to be a lot of people that don't benefit from this. Listen, man, it's going to be a huge boom. And when I say huge, I mean a massive, massive boom in the United States of America economy. And it's going to be a lot of people that make a lot of money. I suspect that there's going to be a lot of people that miss out on this boom because they are not focused, because they so caught up on what they saying on TikTok and they not paying attention to where the money is. They not thinking about the money. They so busy thinking about being dusty and under duress. This is going to be one of the biggest economic waves of all time. And if you are not prepared, if you are not in position to take advantage of it, if you are not thinking differently, then you will be left out, and you're going to still be talking about the system is set up against you. In 2050, yo, raggedy kids is still going to be talking about how the system is set up against you. We going to be laughing all the way to the bank, and then you're going to be talking about how your kids is still dusty because the system is set up against them. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I'm not even going to acknowledge the dusties no more. I'm just going to let them be dusty. Let them be broke. Let broke people be broke people. They always eat themselves. They always steal from each other. They always going to complain. They always going to be a part of the Democratic plantation. And they always going to vote the same way. You can't save them. You can't help them. You can't help them. You can't save them. They going to be broke. They going to sell crack to their communities. They're going to smoke trees all day. They're going to make excuses as to why they still listening to Kendrick Lamar and why he's going to liberate them. Let broke people be around broke people. Don't try to save them. Don't try to save them no more. Let them out hustle them. They don't have no access to you anyway. The minute that they cross over into your neighborhood, they're going to get arrested. So it's cool. Let broke people beget broke people. Let them have children. Let them eat themselves. Let them continue to have children with each other so that they'll still be in room 9. Let them be with each other. It's cool. Make sure y'all tapping into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Don't try to save them. Just laugh at them. We just going to laugh at them from above. Valerie says, thank you, Anton, for keeping us informed. You're welcome, Valerie. Thank you for rocking out with me. Chris Cunningham says, sounds like it could be time to rehab houses there or build them new. I don't know. Eric Williams says, great to see my parents' birthplace of Mississippi doing a great thing for the residents of that state. Shout out to Grenada, Mississippi. I've never been there. I'm going to have to check it out. Jamaica says, Wagwan AD, bless up to you and your family. Question, have you been to Mackinac Island there in Michigan? I see that cars are banned there. I'm going to visit this summer. When is Stock Club One Love? So Stock Club is going to be this week. I had to slow down for a second so I could prepare myself to make sure that I didn't miss when I fly out of town, because I got to take an international flight on Wednesday. So Stock Club is this week. Mackinac Island is awesome. Mackinac Island is awesome. There is no cars. It is a huge, massive tourist spot, and I think that you're going to like it. It's a slower pace of living. It's horses. It's walking. You can take a ferry to get over there. It's awesome. It's awesome. So it's in Upper Michigan. It's pretty dope. So you definitely gonna want to visit Mackinac Island. And go to Traverse City too. It's a slower pace of living, but it's also a great city. Corey Perry says, hi, Anton. Hope all is well with yourself and your family. Please keep my co-worker's brother in prayer. He is very ill, is weighing heavy on him. Sending love and strength. Lord bless him and give him whatever he needs. And comfort him at the same time in Jesus' name. Elizabeth says, may as well enjoy your life, AD. As for me, I'm as far south as I want to be in North Carolina. Dope. I like that. Mr. Joe says, we good yet? All right. Sorry about that. Had to make sure that everything was good. That already got my money's worth in 5 minutes. Appreciate you. Thank you to Debt Free Dad. I appreciate you for continuing to rock with us. Eric Williams says, Anton, let me tell you, bro. My mom used to send me down to Mississippi every summer from Grand Rapids, Michigan, to spend time with my grandparents. Good thing your mom gave you different perspectives. Thomas Taylor is in the building. Thomas says, Gulfport and Biloxi. I'm a truck driver, and I've been down there a few times during that cruise tour. Really a cool area. Anton, I didn't see the Stock Club this weekend. Did I miss it? Nope. I'm rescheduling it. So you'll see the reschedule today, this afternoon. Why you always got Kendrick name in your mouth? What, you Kendrick's cousin or something? Y'all know Kenny? Y'all know Kung Fu Kenny? Okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We there. Go ahead, y'all. If y'all having problems with the audio that's on YouTube side, go ahead and leave and come back to make sure that you got your audio right. All right. Somebody said my shirt is supposed to be tucked in. For what? You lucky I got pants on. Talking about my shirt is supposed to be tucked in. Nah. All right, y'all. Let's continue to move on with the show. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel with turn on your notifications. Let's talk about Trump. So Trump had a press gaggle. And the big news about Trump, in addition to the tariffs, is Trump is supposedly thinking about running for a third term. Let me say that again. Trump is supposedly thinking about running for a third term. Let's go ahead and see what he had to say about Russia. Let's see what he had to say about tariffs a little bit. And then let's also deep dive into whether or not he would actually run for a third term. Let's figure it out.
So this is a big week for the Trump administration. You've got new tariffs expected to go into effect Wednesday. And President Trump also says he's looking for ways to serve a third term in office. He clarified Sunday that he is, quote, not joking and is exploring methods to do it despite the Constitution prohibiting such a thing.
I have had more people say, please run again. They said, we have a long way to go before we even think about that. But I've had a lot of people.
For more on this, let's bring in CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand live for us at the White House this morning. Natalie, good morning to you. A third presidential term is just not constitutional. So what does Mr. Trump mean here?
Yeah. Good morning to you, Errol. The 22nd Amendment states quite clearly that was added to the Constitution in 1951. It says no person shall serve more than 2 terms in the office of president. But these comments were made by President Trump during a phone interview with NBC News and Kristen Welker when he said that he is thinking about this, but he would not, Errol, really elaborate on the methods. Welker at one point said, well, could one possible scenario be that Vice President J.D. Vance runs and then essentially passes the baton if he were to win? And Trump said, you know, that's one way, but there's other ways. But again, he would not give details. But again, this is not constitutional. And as far as that scenario that I just mentioned, the 12th Amendment states that if you are ineligible to serve as vice president, then you can't be president either. As you just played there, Errol, though, the president did, upon returning to D.C. yesterday, he said, you know, this is still a long ways off and that his focus right now is on this term.
And separately.
All right, so let's pivot for a second. I'm going to give you all my thoughts, but I want to get the full context of everything that's being said. I always like to use multiple different sources before I deep dive into it. This was the actual press gaggle on Air Force One that Trump had where he spoke about the different things that was happening in the economy, as well as the possibility of running for a third term.
We had a good time this weekend. We had a lot of very interesting things happen. I think we're making a lot of progress on Ukraine and Russia. There's always conflict, but I think we're making a lot of progress getting it stopped. We just want to see thousands of soldiers a week stop dying, because they're dying at numbers that probably haven't seen since the Second World War for no reason whatsoever. It's a shame. It's a shame. So I think we are making progress. Step by step, there's tremendous hatred between the leaders, if you call the whole situation leaders. But I think we'll get that done. And the Middle East, a lot of things are happening with respect to Iran. And we'll see if we can get something done. And if not, it's going to be a bad situation. Very, very bad.
Oil sanctions that you mentioned today, when will they start?
So we have a couple. We have the secondary tariffs on Iran, and we'll probably give it a couple of weeks. And if we don't see any progress, we're going to put them on. We're not putting them on right now, but if you remember, I did that 6 years ago, and it worked very well, to put it mildly. And if the election weren't rigged, you would have a situation where there would be no problem with Iran today, but it was. Biden didn't know what he was doing, obviously, and we have a very rough situation in the Middle East because of that. You ended up with October 7th, and you would have never had October 7th, and you would have never had Russia going into Ukraine likewise. But we're going to make a decision on secondary tariffs on Iran based on whether or not they're going to make a deal. If they're going to make a deal, then we're never going to put secondary tariffs on. We're going to hope they have a great, long, and successful life as a country. But we'll see what happens. It's very interesting. I can't imagine them doing anything else but making a deal. I would prefer a deal to the other alternative, which I think everybody in this plane knows what that is. And that's not going to be pretty, and I do not prefer that.
So, Mr. President, on the tariffs, you said that you were at one point that the tariffs Tuesday would be more conservative than what people might think. There's reports that you are maybe now looking to make the tariffs higher. So are you weighing higher tariffs? Or
the tariffs will be far more generous than those countries were to us, meaning they will be kinder than those countries were to the United States of America over the decades. They ripped us off like no country's ever been ripped off in history. And we're going to be much nicer than they were to us, but it's substantial money for the country, nevertheless.
On the tariffs that you're planning, so you're expecting to hit something like 10 to 15 countries, is that right?
No.
All countries? All of the countries.
Is it across the board?
Not 10. I don't know. Who told you 10 or 15 countries?
Well, we heard that. So we heard that you were going to aim for the 15%.
But you didn't hear it from me.
Okay, so
How do you get on Air Force One? That's the thing that I'm trying to figure out. Like, how do you become the part of the press that just travels on Air Force One with the president on a regular basis?
how many countries will be in that initial tranche?
You'd start with all countries, so let's see what happens. There are many countries involved.
On the Russia?
I haven't heard a rumor about 15 countries, 10 or 15.
So you're starting with all countries?
Well, essentially, all of the countries that we're talking about. We wouldn't be talking about all countries. It's not a cutoff. And if you look at the history and you look at what's happened to us, you go to certain places, go to Asia, and you take a look at every single country in Asia, what they've done to the United States in trade. And by the way, in military in a certain way. You look at, take a look at trade with Asia, and I wouldn't say anybody is treated as fairly or nicely. And but we are going to treat them. We're going to be much more generous to them in terms of heart. We're going to be much more generous than they were to us.
You said that you were not joking about a third term, about possibly wanting a third term. Does that mean you're not planning to leave office on January 20th?
I'm not looking at that, but I'll tell you, I have had more people ask me to have a third term, which is in a way a fourth term, because the other election, the 2020 election was totally rigged. So it's actually sort of a fourth term in a certain way. I just don't want the credit for the second, because Biden was so bad, he did such a bad job. And I think that's one of the reasons that I'm popular, if you want to know the truth. I think I'm popular because we've done a great job. I think we've had the best almost 100 days of any president. And most people are saying that. And it's an honor. We're bringing back our country. We're respected as a country again. And we're strongly respected. And people are amazed. I was with some very important people today, and they said that they've never seen a turnaround of a country as fast as this. Even look at our border. We have nobody coming in. And you can come into our country, but you have to come in legally. But we have nobody coming in to our country. It's almost shut down. They've never seen anything like this.
So, well, let me see if he says anything else. Hold on.
An appropriate precedent limits a president to 2 terms. Is it your understanding that they have to be?
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just telling you, I have had more people say, please run again. I said, we have a long way to go before we even think about that. But I've had a lot of people.
So, you know, in this press gaggle in which he spoke directly to the people, he says that he's had a lot of people tell him that he should run for a third term. Now, this has been a thing that's been in the news, that's been, under the radar and all of this other stuff for a long time. I didn't hear him directly say it. There's also another news report that speaks to it about Trump possibly running for a third term. This is what they're saying that he said to reporters on the phone.
I'm not joking. President Donald Trump on the record saying he's not ruling out another run for the White House, telling NBC News, quote, there are methods by which he could do it. Now, the president is limited to 2 terms by the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution, but that has not stopped President Trump from flirting with this idea before.
It will be the greatest honor of my life to serve not once, but twice, or 3 times, or 4 times. Headlines from the fake news. Now it will be to serve twice. Should I run again? You tell me.
It sounds like he's just trolling and that the left liberal news media is taking it too serious.
There's your controversy right there. There's your controversy.
CNN's Betsy Klein is live.
So if you actually pull up the Constitution, the 22nd Amendment within the Constitution is very clear. It's very clear. And you can go to constitution.congress.gov, and it is very clear exactly what this is. And it says, no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice, and no person who has held the office of the president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of the president more than once. But this article shall not apply to any person holding office of the president when this article was proposed by Congress, meaning that when it was first ratified or it was first placed into our Constitution, that it wasn't applicable to that person then, and shall not prevent any person who may be holding office of the president or acting as president during the term within which this article becomes operative from holding the office of the president or acting as president during the remainder of such term. Section 2, this article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of several states within 7 years from the date of its submission by the state of Congress. So essentially, the only thing that's applicable to this situation is this, right? Is that no person shall be elected to the office of president more than twice, and no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of the president more than once. So essentially, the 22nd Amendment in the Constitution of the United States of America is saying that you cannot run and hold office you cannot be elected to office more than twice. So I'm not sure where they got this from. It sounds to me like Trump is just speaking and trolling people. One of the things that he said is that he actually won the office 3 times because he feels as though he didn't lose the 2020 election. Then it is no way that Biden got over 80 million votes, the most in history in 2020. But I don't see it. It looks like he's trolling. It looks like he's keeping people in the loop. I don't see it. My personal opinion is that I believe that we should abide by the Constitution because we are a republic that is governed by our Constitution. And we use a democratic election process to determine who should be the representatives of Congress, who should be the representative of President of the United States of America, who should be in the House. Okay? I personally believe that we should have term limits on Congress. I think that Congress should only be able to serve 2 terms. Personally. I don't like this lifetime deal that Congress members get. I wish they would make an amendment to the Constitution to include that Congress should only be able to hold seats in Congress for 2 terms, a total of 8 years. It sounds like he was joking. It sounds like he was trolling. I'm not sure what they would be able to do in order to do it. Maybe they would do it the way that Obama did it, because Obama probably had 3 terms and that You know, I think that Obama was probably president during Biden's 2021 through 2025 term. But it sounds like he's joking. It sounds like he's just trolling people. I'm not sure how they would be able to pull that off. But here's CNN's take on it.
In West Palm Beach tonight, Betsy, he said he's not joking when asked about this. Then also said that it's too early to be talking about it. What more is he saying?
Yeah, Jessica, you're absolutely right that this is not the first time this has come up, albeit a little tongue-in-cheek as you just laid out. But President Trump openly talking about the prospect of seeking a third term in office, and he says this is not a joke. I want to read to you part of the transcript from the telephone interview he had with NBC News' Kristen Welker. Welker says, "Sir, I'm hearing you don't sound like you're joking. I've heard."
We all know that Kristen Welker catches the bad end of every stick. So I'm also taking this, you know, with a grain of salt also. But let's hear it.
Spoke about this a number of times, to which the president responds, no, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. The president goes on to say that there are methods on which he could seek a third term. Welker asked if it's possible that Vice President J.D. Vance gets elected and then passes the baton. The president indicated that that was an option, but he said there are others too. The president, of course, repeatedly said it is, quote, too early to think about it. Now, the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution.
All right, so my take on it, I don't need to hear any more of what they got to say about this. We can move on from this. My take on it personally, my opinion, I am a conservative. I am a Republican. I absolutely think that Trump is doing a phenomenal job inside of the United States of America right now. I do not want anybody, as well as a job that I think that Trump is doing within the first 100 days of his election, as well as a job as I think that J.D. Vance and all of his cabinet members are doing. They've had a couple of blunders, especially with the whole signal link, and I think that that probably was made more of than it really was. But I actually disagree with the way that they handled that whole situation, and I think that Trump was very disappointed in that. I think that Trump is doing a much better job than he did in his first term. I think that he has the loyalty to support having all three branches of government and being able to get things done very quickly, I think is phenomenal. I think that they're doing a great job on immigration. No, I do not think that anybody should be able to run for a third term. And I know that there's going to be conservatives that feel some type of way about that. You're not loyal to the Republican Party. You're not loyal to MAGA. No, I'm loyal to the Constitution first. I'm loyal to America. If it was in the Constitution, or if it was possible for him to run a third term, if that wasn't an amendment inside of the Constitution that was added to where you could not run for a third term, then maybe we would evaluate that. But I think that every single office, the highest office of the land, should be term limits. And no, I do not think that Trump, first of all, I don't think that Trump should even consider running for a third time. I don't even think that that should be a part of the conversation. But also, I don't believe that any president should do more than 8 years in office. I think that Trump should enjoy his years. I think that he should continue to be the businessman that he is after he leaves office. I think that his legacy will be absolutely awesome after he leaves. But I do not believe and I do not support a third term for anybody, including the Trump administration, for president of the United States of America. That's my thoughts. I think that the next up should be J.D. Vance. And I think that we should also embrace other people that are winning and that are doing really well. Byron Donalds. I like Byron Donalds down in Florida, him to be governor. I would love for Vivek Ramaswamy to be governor of Ohio. And I think that there are other people in the administration that is doing very well also that we should consider. But nope, I do not think at all, unless I actually hear it out of his mouth to say that he is trying to run for a third term, then we would take it more serious. As of right now, we are governed by the Constitution. And more importantly, I do not think that he should seek a third term. I do not think that anybody should be able to do a third term as president of the United States of America. So that's just me personally. I don't know what you guys think. I'm curious as to what y'all think. And I'm going to read the super chats. So that's where I stand. That's where I stand on it. Oh, let's see what we got here. Y'all bothered by that? I don't think I satisfied nobody on either side with that, but that's what my thoughts are. Wrath Unique says, chill on me, Anton. I ain't said nothing. I'm chilling. I'm just giving my thoughts. Apparently, FDR did it. Well, this is not FDR's time. Cedric Johnson says, I'm excited about car companies building their factories in the U.S. I'm already doing commercial car transport. There will be many more contracts available and so much. See? You see how you making sure that you get to the money? I like that, Sid. Victor Williams says, President Trump is trolling the hell out of y'all. The left media will eat this up too. Just look at Eric D. Yeah, it's to keep them distracted and let them be distracted. Just Christian said, you can tell he was trolling. The guy behind him is dying laughing. The left so easy to troll. They are so weak-minded, so easily taken advantage of. Philosopher says, Anton, after playing the old video from when you were voting Democrat, spoke very different. How did you practice speaking more articulate and professional? I know this is a Patreon, but can you give a hint? It's reps. It's reps. It's putting your 10,000 hours in. One of the things that I did was I wanted to improve the quality of my videos. And if you look at the very early videos that I used to make for YouTube on the Anton Daniels channel, there was a lot of jump cuts. Like I would be talking to the people, whereas now I could just do a video. What's going on? It's Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me. Listen, I don't really think that Trump should win or run another term because that would go against the Constitution. And I'm very much against the Constitution being amended for us to be able to make sure that we finesse this thing. And so what I suggest that we do is we just continue to embrace being a republic by which we're governed, but at the same time using a democratic process. And for y'all that's in these blue cities, let me tell you something. You getting what y'all want. So it's much more important for y'all to be concerned what's happening on a local level than what's happening on a national level because y'all don't even vote in the local elections. So, y'all leaders and what's happening in your neighborhoods and what's happening. Do you even know who your alderman is? Do you even know who your city council person is? Do you even know what's happening in your neighborhoods and your communities? You know what? The left is so easy to troll. Whereas it used to be a bunch of jump cuts. You know what I'm saying? And I would be doing a video that I would drop and it would be a whole lot of jump cuts, but I wanted to limit the amount of editing that I had to do to make sure that people would get what my point is. But before I used to mess up and stutter and have to start over or say, you know what, skip it. It would take me 20 minutes to record a 7-minute video and then I would have to cut it up. You know what I'm saying? And then it wouldn't be what it needed to be. And then I would do another take. I wanted to limit what editing I had to do. And so I learned to talk all the way through. And then when I started live streaming, I have no choice but to just talk directly to the people because it was only one take, right? I do my show live. I had to improve the way that I spoke because I also knew that it would play a role in what was happening in corporate America. So I forced myself by getting in front of the camera, looking at myself. I would see the way that I said certain things and I wouldn't like it. So every day I would review what I did and then I would record myself. Y'all can record yourself without making it available to the general public. I had to get rid of the as, the uhs. You know what I'm saying, man? And I learned to just speak proper English, which helped me be a better communicator, both in real life in corporate America and as a content creator. So I just put my 10,000 hours in. Anton got this iPhone 16 Pro is a Metro PCS phone. I didn't know that. Interesting. Anyways, yeah, I just put the time in. I had to make sure that I run it up, and I had to, add as much value as possible to myself so that I'll then be able to communicate effectively to you. So, yep, that's it. You just got to put the time in. You got to put the work in over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then eventually you'll learn how to eliminate parts of your vocabulary that you think is normal, but you just communicate more effectively. He trolling the press. They keep asking him. Yeah, y'all need to stop asking him if y'all don't want him to continue to troll y'all. Working at a place where most people rely on, it's like reading. You know, if you never read, but then you got to get up and read in front of the class, or if you never do any public speaking, but then you're asked to do a speech, you're going to look stupid. But if you're used to it, if it's just a part of the process, that's why now when I go out and I record and I'm actually walking around and I'm talking to the vlog camera and everybody else will be apprehensive. Oh my God, everybody looking at me. People saying in my comments, I couldn't do that, walk around, just vlog. It's normal to me because I'm used to it. I would feel more weird not talking to a camera in public and just walking around than I would, you know, actually just talking straight directly to the camera and still be doing what I do. I'm used to it. I'm used to having a camera on all the time. Working at a place where most people rely on overtime, you will be shocked when you mention his no tax on overtime and black people pretend not to care. You know how it is. Poogie's friend Ray Ray says, since Trump has cracked down on migrants crossing the border, I've had to pivot, and now I'm starting a job as a Room 9 bus driver. Raph Unique says, if Trump got impeached in 2020, doesn't he technically get 2 more years? I don't know about that, big dog. Solution Trucking Channel says, if you read that last part again, it says it can be amended. Yeah, but I don't want that. Anton, did you hear about the Louisiana rejecting to lower their tax bill and turning against 50 Cent? No, send that to me. Email it to me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. I want to go through that. Maybe we'll make that a part of the show tomorrow. Raph Unique says, do I need an extensive background sheet to speak about politics on YouTube, even though I already know how to communicate effectively? What do you mean an extensive background sheet? I don't know what that means. You can speak about whatever you want. You just got to be able to substantiate your argument. High Tolerance says, good morning, AD and the Bag Chasers. Timing yourself within a 20 to 30 second voice text memo frame will help as well. Eliminates a bunch of fluff and fillers. Yeah, it's a lot of people that waste their time with a bunch of fluff and fillers, and they say a lot of the and all of that stuff. Just get straight to the point. And when you become more knowledgeable about the subject that you're speaking about, you don't have to waste as much time with a bunch of fillers. You can just get straight to it because it'll be so much that you want to get to and speak about, and that'll just be a part of your speech on a daily basis. Anyways, let's pivot for a second. I want to get into Tesla, right? We know that Tesla protests is taking place in different cities. Well, let me get rid of this. Tesla protests were taking place in different cities, and people were marching against Tesla. I actually seen a video where they were doing the hustle at this very same scene. Check it out.
Tesla takedowns popped up across the country and here in Western Washington. Linwood, University Village, Soto, South Lake Union, Fife, Bellevue, and beyond.
All the way from Linwood down to Vancouver, Washington. We just rocked it today. It was a great day.
Devin Hermanson was one of the Bellevue organizers. He said about 300 people showed up as part of the worldwide movement. Protesters targeting Tesla dealerships and vehicles in opposition of CEO Elon Musk's role in the government.
The basic message is that democracy is for the people, not for billionaires. And to have a billionaire essentially buy an election and is now interfering with the functioning of our government is terrifying.
At the U Village protest,
I am so proud to represent you.
Representative Pramila Jayapal was among those to address the demonstrators.
Musk and the Department of Greed and Evil, that's what DOGE is, the Department of Greed and Evil, have got to go.
Hermanson suggests this is really just the start of the movement.
We are the proverbial sleeping giant that is awakened to our power. We're going to keep going until this Tesla stock hits single digits.
So what happens if it doesn't hit single digits and you guys just keep going? What happens then? What happens if it doesn't hit single digits? Rita had a little small altercation, which wasn't big at all, but she had a little small altercation over the weekend where Rita is really into records, like she's into vinyl. And she went into a store that was over in Eastern Market here in Detroit. And we are a very, I hate to say this word, diverse and inclusive city. I jumped on the train yesterday and I seen a guy that was dressed like, what's my man name? Childish Gambino. I seen a guy that was dressed like Childish Gambino. He dressed like a 70s character. But you can tell that this was a part of his style and nobody cares. The thing that's the misconception about the Republican Party or conservatives is that we actually care about what you do with your life. We don't. We only care about what you try to push onto other people as a part of the culture. You could do whatever you want to do, but that doesn't mean that we have to let you walk into women's bathrooms or play in women's sports or push certain agendas and let drag queens teach classes inside of the libraries or elementary schools, or let you get ahead based off of the fact that you identify as something or you feel a certain type of way, instead of you getting ahead based off of your own merit and whether you're the best person for the job. We don't believe in that, but we do tolerate you doing whatever you want to do, because that is what being an American is the pursuit of happiness and the pursuit of peace and the pursuit of liberty and justice for all and financial stability and being able to pay for your bills. Yes, go to work, take care of business. We prefer you go to work because we don't want to subsidize your lifestyle. The flip side of it is that we don't have to deal with your BS when you decide to do it. So if y'all want to choose to not drive a Tesla and want to go and pick up an internal combustion engine vehicle, it just makes you look like a hypocrite, because number one, Tesla is the most American company as far as automakers go, because they build and assemble 100% of all of the vehicles that they sell inside of America. They actually employ Americans. They create jobs for Americans. They've made more millionaires than a lot of these legacy automakers. So if they are the most American company by providing the most American jobs and is giving most of their employees stock in the company that has allowed for them to get richer and change the trajectory of their family dynamics and the lineage that they have, then you, who said that you was a part of the electric revolution as long as a Democrat was in office, you choosing to go against them is actually going against the best thing for your children and American people. And more importantly, it makes you look like a hypocrite because you decide that you're torching vehicles that's not yours. Keep your hands to your mother-loving self. It's unfortunate. KG says shorten Tesla stock. Okay, well, how much have you lost over the last 2 weeks? How much have you lost over the last 2 weeks? Y'all don't even know why you would be shorting a stock. People are so dumb. They just be talking. And we know that a lot of y'all don't even have no money to short nothing. You ain't got $1,000 just in case of an emergency. You talking about, how much you gonna buy? You gonna buy a fraction of a share? You gonna buy a fraction of a share? Don't you know that a lot of these pensions, a lot of these retirement vehicles, a lot of these ETFs, they're invested in Tesla stock. The very people that's out there protesting against them are the ones that are going to be dependent on them to support their retirement. You got a fraction of a share. You could have gotten rich if you invested in Tesla all of this time, like I had been talking to the bag chasers about, which we didn't catch none of the downturn of the Tesla. We just rebought into it once it got down to a certain spot. You could have literally gotten filthy rich. Tesla's made more people millionaires in this country than ever before. Short the stock, says a person that ain't got 3 pennies to their name. Don't even got a 401k talking about short the stock. Okay, I got you. But anyways, this is also what's happening across the country.
Global protests targeting Tesla, demonstrators gathering around the world and from coast to coast in the U.S. for so-called Tesla takedowns, outraged by Elon Musk and Doge's massive cuts to the federal workforce. It comes as the electric car maker is facing acts of vandalism and other crimes. Here's ABC's Morgan Norwood.
Tonight, from New York to Washington to Los Angeles to San Francisco, and even abroad, Tesla Takedown, a global day of peaceful action demanding an end to Elon Musk's influence over Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, and its sweeping federal cuts.
We're going to put pressure on the administration, but also on Congress to stand up to them.
Organizers claim Musk's Tesla fortune helped him secure a role in the Trump administration, overseeing Doge and slashing government funding.
We don't think that Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, should be in charge.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. This guy, minus the neck scarf, reminds me of how dusty I used to be. Minus the lack of money, because I actually have money and resources. This guy reminds me of my dustiness back in the day when I used to be a liberal. My curiosity would have led me out there to find out exactly what the people were doing. You might have caught me on camera if we had social media back then to the way that we have it now. You might have seen me in the background. Should not be out there. He should be focused on growing a mustache and a beard, growing a mustache and a beard, and making sure that he get his masculinity up. He got to get his testosterone together. I know, because I've been there. I know that I've been there. They give you a free t-shirt. They give you, okay, I wasn't protesting, but for the sake of conversation, they give you a free t-shirt. They give you a poster. They tell you to stand out there with white people that are liberal. You got a girl on one side of you, she got rainbow hair. You got a guy on the other side of you. He just recently got laid off by the federal government. And you out there looking stupid. You don't know why you out there, but you out there looking stupid. You don't even know what you doing, and you out there looking stupid trying to be a part of the in crowd and trying to be seen, trying to get your voice heard. Just trying to make a name for yourself. You out there looking dumb as hell. I've been there. I've been there. You know, you want to do your work at the coffee shop. You're having a conversation with a bunch of liberals. You're leaning into the fact that the church that you used to go to all told you that you needed to vote Democrat. You're walking out there with no beard, no mustache, looking stupid, no lineup, no nothing. Just aimless, just out there with the people. Just trying to figure it out, trying to find your way. I've been there, big dog. I've been there. I've been a part of the Blue Pill Nation and been in the Matrix. It's dusty behavior. You should be getting your money up. You should be making sure that you're working on things, taking care of business. Every waking hour should be spent doing something productive.
Just doing things like that.
Protesters.
What's his name again? Walton?
Yeah, Elon Musk, the richest man.
Wallace Mason. His name is Wallace. He don't know no better. Wallace has no clue what he's doing. He's out there with a bandana tied frontwards around his neck. Wallace is going to look back on this 10 years from now, and he's going to say, what the heck was I doing with no mustache, no beard? He's going to look back at this when he gets some money, when he gets some kids, and he gets some motion. He's going to look back at this, and he's going to say, oh, I'm embarrassed to see this. I've been there. I've been there.
Man, the world should be in charge of doing things like that.
Protesters are urging boycotts, calling on Tesla owners to sell their EVs and dump their stocks. While today's protests remain peaceful, recent weeks have been anything but. The FBI launching a task force in response to earlier attacks, including incendiary devices found at a Tesla dealership in Austin, Texas. And in New York, investigators looking for two people who they say carved the word Nazis and a swastika into a Cybertruck. Musk on Fox News warning the Trump administration is preparing to act.
And we're going to go after them. And the president's made it clear we're going to go after them.
And Musk says Tesla's vehicle cameras are now rolling, and President Trump is warning that vandals could face up to 20 years, possibly in an El Salvadorian prison. Mary?
The president promising those harsh consequences. More.
So, in addition to that, we want to make sure that we're getting it from all angles. We want to make sure that we see it on all networks also, so we can make an informed decision.
We begin with Madison Scarpino at a Tesla service shop in Atlanta, where protests are expected later today. Madison?
Hi, Alicia. That's right. There are set to be hundreds of protests nationwide today at different Tesla locations, including this one here in Atlanta. And the goal is to stop Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency. Now,
you know how you know that you're the wrong black guy at the wrong event at the wrong time? I'll tell you how you know. It's so obvious to spot. This is how you know you're the wrong black guy at the wrong event at the wrong time. Black people not even participating in the Tesla takedown. If you go look at what they saying in black culture. Now, obviously, Republicans and conservatives, they saying, mind your business. Don't put your hand on other people's property. Obviously, you're stupid. You know that Elon Musk is employing more people here in the United States of America than you could ever in your lifetime. We already know that, right? Black people is saying, hey, we're going to sit this one out. We're not really sure that this makes sense for us. The 92 and the 78%, they not even rock. Listen. Wallace. Let me speak to Wallace really quickly, and I'm going to come back to this. Wallace. Big dog. This is what I know for sure for you. You're trying to find yourself. All of the people that you align with, all of the women that you think is on your side, and I know that you voted for Kamala Harris, guess what? They still not going to give you no box. They busting it down for the dude that didn't even vote. They busting it down for the fool that just got out of jail and he got that heavy felony on his record and he can't even get a job. Wallace, you're a good guy. Go to school, get your education, make sure you grow a beard, get you a girlfriend, make sure you get married, have you a kid, and get on up out of there, bro. That's not for you. Listen, after you get done protesting and you musty out there, see, I wasn't about to protest. I had to break out of the Democrat Party. They still not going to give you no box, bro. It's no box. There's no prize for you. At the end of the day, you're going to go home alone. You're going to beat off one. You're going to shoot a blank. And you're wasting your time. And you're still going to be broke. And you still got that zesty thing that's around your neck. There is nothing for you, bro. Nothing for you out there. I'm telling you right now. What y'all say, Glocktavius? They still going to be rocking out with Glocktavius. There's no box for you at the end of the rainbow. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. Zero. You're still going to be in the friend zone. The only thing they're going to do is copy off your homework, bro. Just telling you.
These protesters are a part of the so-called Tesla takedown, and the group is calling today a global day of action against the car maker. According to the Tesla takedown website, the group wants people to, quote, sell your Teslas, dump your stock, and join the picket lines. They're protesting Musk's role in Doge. He spearheaded severing government agencies, but Musk says this is an effort to expose waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. There have been plenty Tesla protests leading up to today. Here are protesters from Monday in California. Listen.
I definitely have wanted to flip off Tesla.
We don't even know if that's a guy or a girl. We don't even know if that's a guy or a girl. We have no clue whatsoever what that is that we looking at on the screen. Go home. Go home, y'all. Look at the other one in the background. Look at the one that's over the shoulder to the right of our screen, the left of the person that's on the screen, to the right of us. Look at them. Guess what? Fit the profile. Same thing. Heavy set, no opportunity, no job. We don't know if that's a guy or a girl. I'm assuming that that's a girl. It could be a guy with no stash. What are they doing out there? What are they doing out there? They're looking to belong because they have no sense of self, no identity. Look at these people. These people are crazy. Look at this person. We don't even know if this person on the camera, is that a girl? Is that a guy? What is it? What is it? They have no sense of identity. Y'all think that that's a black woman? I don't know if that's a black woman. I'm not sure if that. Let me see if I can get another angle. Yeah, that's definitely a black woman. She needs to look at this. Oh, and she got front butt. She got front butt. We almost didn't know what that is. She should be in the gym, working out, getting herself together, and making sure that she take care of business. She's out there with a sign amongst a bunch of other crazies protesting against Tesla. I said that's a high-calorie woman. And the same for her. Nobody is going to give her a prize at the end of the day. You know why she out there? I'm going to tell you why that woman that's in that greenish shirt is out there. The reason why that woman with that greenish shirt out there is because they have no man. Because no man is going to take a high-calorie woman that we are mistaking for a man and say, I want to marry you. Because you know what? The women that are covered, they at home. They may be working from home. They be staying home mothers. They may be cooking. They may be making you some spaghetti for your lunch or something like that. They not out there protesting with Tesla. No woman that is a black woman that is desirable. And when I say desirable, it doesn't have to have European features. It means that you're doing the best that you can to look the best that you can. It means that you're focused on yourself, you're working on yourself, you're taking care of business. They not out there getting musty, protesting with signs against Tesla. They're not trying to identify themselves. They're not trying to figure it out. They're at home. they're at home. This is what happens when you lose yourself, when you start to find yourself at a crossroads, trying to figure out, what is my life like? Oh my God, I'm looking in the mirror. I don't like what myself looks like. I need to go out there and protest for Tesla. That's the pathway to destruction. That is how a lot of black people find themselves, white people too, but I'm gonna speak to black people. This is how a lot of black people find themselves protesting. They don't have nothing better to do. And the idle mind is the devil's workshop. They not working out. They not getting money. Because you got to pick a struggle. Either you're going to be rich or you're going to be fit. Now, if you can get both, which is what I'm working on, then that's a plus. But as a woman, you gotta get in the gym. You got to get your teeth together. You got to get your skincare routine. Get you some Tiege Hanley. 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. For the guys, you have, oh God. You can't be a high calorie man and be broke. You can't have both. You're going to have to get you some money, dog. You don't have no time to be standing out there holding no signs. You got to get 1 job, 2 job, 3 job, 4 job. You need to go to school. You need to be starting a business. You need to be hustling. You don't have no time, 0 time at all to be sitting out there protesting. For all of y'all, listen, I'm going to speak to the community right now. Let me speak to the community. Can I speak to the community right now, y'all? Give me a second. For all of my black folk, especially in my men, you can't have 2 struggles at the same time. You cannot. You cannot be broke and dusty. You can't be broke and dusty. You gotta get one or the other. Because at the least, if you got yourself together. I ain't even gonna say it no more. I'm not even gonna say, you can't have no mustache, dog, and have beady beads on your head. You gotta pick a struggle. You gotta pick one and say, you know what? I may be one, but I'm not gonna be the other, and I can fix the other one too. Can't be both. Can't be both. You got to smell good. You got to get you some money. You got to do all of that. And I'm going to tell you, money fixes everything. Money fixes a multitude of things. At any point, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and change the dynamics of everything. You could switch up your wardrobe. You could switch up your gym. You can go get some surgery. You can go get you some new teeth. All the teeth, no gaps. Money fixes a lot of things. You can't be broke and dusty, dog. Because even if you dusty, if you broke and you fit, you could still go and couch surf because you always going to be able to have a place to stay because it's always going to be a dusty woman that needs some companionship. That's why them dudes over in Jamaica is busting them chicks down. I'm going off track. Anyways, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. It's crazy out here. These people is out of their minds. I'm gonna give you some real life advice. JL says, Anton, keep Chicago name out of your mouth. Always trying to lower my property value. Focus on dusty Detroit. Detroit is winning. We got a population surplus. We have a budget surplus. We have new investment. We got the Riverwalk is getting an infusion of billions of dollars. We got new companies moving here. We booming out here. What you talking about? Good luck with that though. And y'all teams is, you know how you know a team is down bad? When every single sports team is losing. The Bears is trash. The White Sox is trash. The Bulls is trash. Mayor Johnson is trash. Y'all Alderman is trash. J.B. Pritzker is trash. Chicago, y'all got to pick a struggle. Property taxes is high. Vacancies on y'all main visiting is trash. We winning on every front. Pistons, Lions, Red Wings, Tigers, all of them is booming. That's how you know that you got the confidence together. That's how you know every last one of y'all teams is garbage. Every last one of y'all teams is hot garbage. Mayor, garbage. Teams, garbage. Alderman, garbage. YNs, garbage. At least our YNs is like, you know what, man, y'all not going to come over here causing problems. Our YNs is civilized. They may be shaking their dreads, but they trying to get some money and they trying to get some box. Y'all YNs, y'all just shoot up everything. Y'all got the spirit of a YN in Chicago. We up on everything. Y'all little bro right now. Y'all little bro right now. Shout out to Chicago. We love y'all, but y'all need to get it together. Mello says, well, I ask, if your boss employer is doing a great job and you or your family are benefiting, will you fire him? Nope, absolutely not. We winning. We all win together. Wrath Unique says, they have nothing better to do. These are the same people that think having all genders bathrooms and that being broke are okay. Hey, and I hear that all the time. As long as you happy, I don't know nobody that's broken happy. I want a Cybertruck. How is it running for you? Beautifully. Beautifully. That's a high calorie, all carbs woman. Y'all say she eat bread all day. Bread and butter and cow's milk. Cynthia Haynes says, bro, Anton, I truly admire and appreciate the realness and truthfulness. Classy style. Thank you, Cynthia. At least somebody sees it. You know what I'm saying? This is for the collection plate. I don't want to be a dusty no more. Shout out to Mr. Febreze in the building. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for holding me down. Chicago is little bro right now. Y'all little bro. Hey, somebody tell my little bro Chicago to say what up. Even Kanye crazy. Kanye crazy. Oh, man. Shout out to Chicago. Y'all out there looking dusty. Woo. I would not want to be from Chicago right now. Anyways, Liberation Day is coming in a couple of days, ladies and gentlemen. That's April 2nd. But in the meantime, Hyundai is opening a new plant down south. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Hyundai is opening a new EV plant in Georgia. This, of course, as the Trump administration pushes automakers for more production here in the United States. You saw Phil LeBeau moments ago with the cars and some robots, and he joins us again. Tell us exactly what's going on there. Phil.
David, you mentioned robots. I bring you robots. Check this out. Boston Dynamics, which is 90% owned by the Hyundai Group, they are a big part of the robots from Boston Dynamics.
That's
a big part
crazy.
Of checking the manufacturing quality of this Ioniq 5, also Ioniq 9s that come through here. Every body of every vehicle that comes off the line.
Yo, that look insane on the low. Hey, remember when we used to see all of those Boston Dynamic vehicles or videos with these little dogs, and they was using these dogs for different things, and people was like, it's going to take over the world. Well, guess what? You know what they did? They eliminated all of the wires. They eliminated all of the traditional robots that they would use for inspection and people to inspect it. And they got 2 Boston Dynamic robot dogs inspecting the entire vehicle. That's crazy. And they can use these dogs for all different purposes. They use them as police dogs to go in over in NYC. They using them for inspections on plant floors and all of that. That look insane, bro. It's dope. And they inspect the whole vehicle. It remind me of it wasn't a Black Mirror episode. It was something else. Where the person has superpowers and the police was actually having a dog or having a little dog thing, and it was going into finding out and chasing people down and all of that. What was that I was watching? It was a series, I think. Oh, no, it was a movie. It was a movie on Netflix where I guess they all had like these superpowers, and some of them had like electricity and the other ones was like a level 5 and all of that. It wasn't Black Mirror. It was something else. It was a movie that was on Netflix. I forgot what the name of it was.
Is inspected by these robots to make sure that the holes are drilled in the right spot, the weld joints are in the right spot. Essentially, it's quality control.
Code 9. I think it was Code 9. Yep, I think it was Code 9. Look at him. Shout out to Daryl. Shout out to Chad for more. Shout out to all of y'all that said Code 9. Yep, it was Code 9. And it had that dog, and it was running around, and it was chasing it or whatever, and the police was controlling it. Yep, it was Code 9. Thank y'all. I just watched that recently, too. It looked crazy. It looked sweet, though.
A little freaky when the first time you see it out here, but this is a peek at future of manufacturing here in the United States. Really, it's manufacturing around the world. How important is this plant, not only for Hyundai, but in terms of auto manufacturing? Keep in mind that just over 54% of the vehicles sold in the United States are built in the United States, and more than 8% are imported from Korea. Though Hyundai believes that as this plant starts to spool up production, it will be importing fewer from Korea and selling more of the vehicles it builds here in the United States. This plant has the capacity to ultimately build 300,000 vehicles, though they could expand that up to 500,000 vehicles annually. And for Hyundai, the growth continues. We've talked about this for a long time. Hyundai Kia has been on a steady growth trajectory here in the United States. Now the 4th largest automaker. Sales last year up 3.3%. And this plant is focused strictly on EVs. Though when you talk with Hyundai executives, it's pretty clear. They realize the future is not just EVs, but also hybrids and internal combustion engine vehicles. They now have 3 plants open in the United States. And later today, we're going to hear from the CEO of Hyundai, Jose Munoz. We'll talk to him about his thoughts about the future of manufacturing, especially given the emphasis that is being put on it when it comes to the White House and its push for more domestic manufacturing automobiles. Guys, I'll send it back to you while I hang out with my robotic friends here.
We were just talking about this, Phil. We were literally just talking about whether if the Trump administration can be successful, and Hyundai is a good example of getting more cars built in the U.S., though we don't see many workers behind you, just robots. So how many people does it take to fill a plant like this?
Well, here, we'll show you the robots. Here, let's stay on the robots only because it is pretty fascinating just to watch them.
Yes.
But then I'm going to show you that. There we go. He's doing his thing. And look, this is not the only manufacturing plant that has robots doing this type of work. We're seeing this more and more in all industries when it comes to manufacturing. You're just going to start to see it increase dramatically, I would say, over the next decade. But in terms of people, guys, let me show you right back here. Look, there's scores of people here. 8,500 will ultimately work at this plant. And then when you add the suppliers in the area, they expect another 6,500 jobs to be created. Some of them have already been created. There are already suppliers in this area. So it's not like the robots are taking over and we will never see humans working in an auto plant. It's just that this is going to be augmenting the work of humans. Quality control is number one on the list of things that they want to make sure they, this factory is known for.
So essentially, they're saying that Americans will be getting these jobs. There is going to be scores of jobs and opportunities for people. Now, if you are a lazy person, then you will be left out. This is only for people that want to work. And this is 8,500 jobs at that plant initially, directly, right? In addition to that, they will have an additional 16,000 jobs. There will be construction jobs for an additional $21 billion that Hyundai is placing into the United States of America. That then creates even more jobs, that creates more industries, small businesses, restaurants, suppliers, and so on and so forth, which also bolsters what? The automotive industry. It bolsters the steel industry. It bolsters the aluminum industry. It bolsters software and technology, obviously, because You need more dogs. You need more software engineers. You need more cybersecurity. You need more hack-proof instances. You need people to manufacture the lights. You need people to create the facilities. And it creates an economy within itself because now people are being incentivized to create jobs inside of the United States of America. Ironically enough, it's interesting that if you actually research how this plant came to be in the first place, these were things that was created by Trump back in 2019. The deal to create this was launched from Trump in 2019. And so now you're starting to see the fruition of some of the work that the Trump administration has already been doing to create jobs inside of the United States of America. There is a ton of ways to make money in the United States of America. And again, you, your children, and your children's children is going to benefit from all of the policies and making sure that we place America first. But on the flip side of that, we have Liberation Day coming.
Under surveillance this morning, we're counting down to Liberation Day.
Somebody said quality control used to be people. Trust me, I've seen what people doing quality control used to do in these plants. No, I'd rather have robots doing quality control. That's why we've had so many recalls in the past. That's why you had the Firestone and Ford debacle back in the early 90s. I've seen people's, some things need to be outsourced and some things we need to have assistance with. Some things we need to future-proof. I've seen people doing some of the quality control work, and it doesn't mean that people can't go back and do other overlooking of and making sure that quality control matters. But no, we need more robots doing quality control. I'm straight on the whole people thing.
The tariffs. I'm planning to start his reciprocal tariff push on all countries, tempering hopes that the initial scope could be limited on Wednesday. Henrietta Trace of Vader Partners joins us right now for more. Henrietta, let's start with the $1 trillion question. What happens on April 2nd?
April 2nd at midnight, lots of tariffs start going on. So it's going to be a really long day. We'll obviously get the reports from USTR, Commerce, and Treasury on the 1st. I think there's going to be a lot of advance warning provided by those documents. You know, we have trade agreements with 20 different countries. And I think when the president says we're going to tariff everybody that we're talking about, he means those 20 countries. So I'm expecting to pull out of the phase 1 China deal or call them out in violation of the deal, which means that all the Section 301 tariffs covering over $350 billion worth of goods from China will go up. I think we're going to see new tariff investigations start on India, for example, pharmaceuticals. I think there's going to be new tariffs under Section 232 and IEEPA across the auto sector. I'm very wary about auto parts. I think that'll be sort of a secondary event that happens in a couple months' time should any of the nations like the EU not come to the negotiating table sufficiently. It takes a long time to get through. There's a lot coming.
Henrietta, what do we see that can happen almost immediately when it comes to IEEPA or 338? Is that going to specific countries or is that going to industries?
IEEPA is specific countries and industries, although Section 232, the national security justification, is really where a lot of the sector-specific items go. Lumber, copper, dairy, things along those lines would be a Section 232 tariff. My biggest concern with any rationale that's not IEEPA or even 338 is that there's no time horizon to take them off. The Section 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum have been in effect for almost 8 years. The Section 301 tariffs against China have been in effect for almost 8 years. So once those tariffs come on with a rationale, like the auto investigation that they completed during Trump's first term, those tariffs don't come off. So those are the most pernicious. The IEEPA pieces on Canada and Mexico, for example, theoretically can come off in 3 to 6 months. The others have very serious staying power.
Henrietta, when it comes to how the president is approaching Wednesday, he said we're going to start with all countries. Is that where he's going to end?
That's a fair question. I think we start with about the 20 countries that we have trade agreements with. That's what the agencies have been tasked with doing.
CJ says, I'm not feeling that, but people need to tighten up. Tighten up what? As long as you have the human element as a part of things, then you're always going to have variable change because humans are the variable, right? You're depending on somebody to not be asleep. You're depending on somebody to not just want to go ahead and push it ahead. You're depending on a person to not be upset at the fact that his wife left him earlier that morning, or to be mad at the fact that President Trump won instead of Kamala Harris and all of this stuff. You're depending on people. If you can start to remove the variables and put systems in place, AI, machines, all of that stuff is not there to replace you. It's there to assist you, right? Because the company is not looking to eliminate people, it's looking to operate more efficiently while at the same time minimize the amount of recalls, minimize the amount of quality issues, minimize the amount of money that they got to spend afterwards to fix issues that humans missed. So if you can have a robot assist you while at the same time having a human have a third eye and look over it again and double check to make sure that you don't have quality issues, then you don't have to depend on how people feel to do the job that they're supposed to be doing, that they're getting paid for, that they will not be fired from because they are protected by the union.
See the potential for expansion before we see any pullback. So, for example, there's no investigation into India. I mentioned that at the outset. I think we have a lot of issues with India, from trade in pharmaceuticals, generic drugs, the trade in services deficit. Those are all sort of institutional issues that we know USTR Greer had during Trump's first term. And I would expect to see a really long drag to any approach to India. So I think a lot more are going to come on in the next 4 years of Trump's term than necessarily come off. Although Canada and Mexico should be excluded, especially USMCA compliant pieces, that trade deal needs to be re-agreed to by next summer.
So Liberation Day is coming. I think that that's going to be the show that I do on Wednesday, April 2nd. Liberation Day is coming, according to Trump, to where we're going to put tariffs on all countries, and companies are already scrambling to move to the United States of America because we are the biggest purchasers and the biggest consumers, which means that we got the biggest balls to swing. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show, all right? Marcus Boston, author, says, may the Lord help Chicago. Chicago got to help itself. You know what I'm saying? Let's Talk Game. The Lyric the Gamer says, hey, D, did you hear that Washington State is sitting at close to a $13 billion deficit? I did not. Send that to me. I'm going to go ahead and include that as a part of my next show. Miss Joy says, I firsthand know of companies that are giving their employees 40 hours of PTO for protesting under the guise of volunteering. This goes deep. Shout out to you. Mark the Guardian says those dogs were Black Mirror episode Metalhead. I'll have to check that out. Tanaya Davis says, hey, Anton, new bag chaser. Just got out of prison on 2/3/25 and starting everything in life over. I have $2,000 earmarked to invest. Should I wait for your next stock club vid before investing or watch the older ones and go from there? I would say both. You should watch the older ones, and then also, because stock club, we're going to do it this week. So, don't let it burn a hole in your hand. Just hold on to it. Let us do the stock club, but I would say don't wait and watch the older ones because that then leapfrogs or gives you insight into what we're going to talk about in the newer ones. I always like to do a little bit of a recap to keep people up to speed because I don't want to leave anybody behind, but watch the older ones and then also tune in for this one, but I would not be so gung-ho to hurry up and put money into the market because we make long-term investments, all right? Shout out to you and welcome home. Welcome home. I like that. And I like the fact that you're transparent about that. Shout out to you. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to continue on with the show? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Jasmine Crockett. All right, I don't want to spend any more than 10 minutes on this one. Jasmine Crockett is under fire. For what? What is Jasmine Crockett under fire for? She's under fire because they're starting to recover and uncover some of the previous comments that she's made against other people, including black men, about the women that they decide to talk to or the hue of the women that they decide to talk to. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is what people are pulling up about Jasmine Crockett previously on previous interviews.
Jasmine Crockett is now coming under fire for a newly uncovered clip where she takes her offensive rhetoric to another level. Here's what she had to say about Congressman Byron Donalds.
If we continue to put people into office, and that even means some of our skinfolk who definitely are not our kinfolk, such as Byron Donalds, who are going to continue to say that, the fact that you sitting around talking about life was better under Jim Crow, is this because you don't understand history? Or literally it's because you married a white woman and so you think that that whitewashed you. I'm not really sure.
Wild. So let me understand something. Somebody can have an opinion that's different than yours. And of course, we know that she took what he said completely out of context in order to try to justify what she was saying, in order to rile people up in the black community to not like Byron Donalds, but it didn't work because he explained it perfectly in context. But does this also apply to Kamala Harris? Because what's good for one has to be good for the other, right? Why are people so caught up on who you decide that you want to marry, whether they're white or whether they're black? Y'all know that these people just say the wildest things on a regular basis just to get a rise out of y'all. And even if it's hypocritical, it makes you feel good at the time. But this is a person that doesn't even have a marriage or have a man that she's married to. She's not even married at all. So you're telling me because he found value in somebody that found value in him, and he decided to raise a family and marry this person, it matters because the person just so happened to be of a different color or race or nationality than you? How come we didn't hold Kamala Harris to that same standard then? Because it's not a problem who Kamala Harris is married to until you start to hold other people accountable for who they're married to. But she was the person that was the biggest supporter of Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris was married to Dougie. And nobody tripped. Nobody tripped until you start using race as a factor for whether you agree or disagree with somebody. And this woman is supposed to be the leader of the Democratic Party, one of the leaders, one of the future leaders, one of the people that is going to be at the forefront of the liberation movement of the Democratic Party and all of this other type of stuff. Y'all actually rocking with this. So Democrats believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion until it's a Republican that actually, and that's hypocritical in itself, because if you want visibility and you want representation based off of race in every sector of the planet, then it would seem as though you would want it in the Republican Party too, right? And that's when you get called the C word. That's when you get called a coon. That's when you get called a sellout. Because representation and diversity, equity, and inclusion matters until it doesn't. Until they disagree with you. Oh no, we all need to come together. We all need to be embracing of other people's lifestyles until you marry a white woman. This is the most evil, racist, hypocritical party that I've ever heard of in my entire life. My preference is I prefer and I have a thing to look at women, black women in particular, right? But I could care less if you decide that you want to go and talk to an Asian woman or a white woman or what. I don't care. As long as you are not breaking the law and as long as you are not requiring that other people do exactly what you did, I'm cool, because anybody can have preferences. Women can have preferences. Men can have preferences. But how hypocritical is it of you to not be tolerant of somebody else's preferences when they don't align with yours or when you don't agree with them? I'm objective enough to say, you know what? I don't necessarily care for that person, but wives and husbands are off limits. I'm objective enough to say, I don't care about what they stand for when it comes to their politics, but you need to leave their kids alone. That's not right. It's been plenty of people that I stood up for on this very platform. Crazy enough, I actually stood up for D.L. Hughley. When Monique, some of y'all been around for a long time, when Monique and D.L. Hughley was having a little spat, and she started to go after his daughter, and she started to talk junk about his wife and all of this stuff, I said, hold on, wait a minute. I think that D.L. Hughley is one of the most abysmal people on the face of this earth when it comes to his view on politics and racism. But that's off limits. I stand with D.L. Hughley when it comes to addressing the issue, attacking the argument, and talking back and forth with the person and not going after anybody that ain't got nothing to do with this. There's no reason for you to be talking nonsense about his daughter. There's no reason for you to be talking nonsense about his wife. You should not even be doing that. That's off limits. I think you crossed the line. And she doubled down on it. And that's what made me realize that Monique was a demon. That Monique was one of the most evil people, and she's always going to be running at the Victim Olympics, even to the point to where she used Angie Stone's death and her funeral to try to go at Tyler Perry. I 100% stood up with D.L. Hughley when it came to the attack on people that had nothing to do with the argument. And we need to be very, very, very careful that we are not hypocritical and we are objective enough to not only hold ourselves accountable, but this woman is purely evil. She's evil. She's dusty. She's now leveraging social media to create a better persona for herself, to maintain power, to still get a paycheck. But we know that the Democratic Party is absolutely losing favor with the people. But she actually had the nerve to say something about Byron Donalds' wife and who he was married to.
And we know comments like this are nothing new for the unhinged Congresswoman, who has now surged to the top of the Democrat Party.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
What did I say negative about Kamala Harris's husband and her kids? First of all, you ain't never heard me say anything about Kamala Harris's kids. I did say that she's a stepmother. 100% she's a stepmother. And then I referenced the fact that her husband had become a public figure and he was verbally and visibly advocating for her to become president of the United States of America and making himself visible. And so we use that as a reference point to say, how can you then hold black people accountable for not aligning with you if you decided that you wanted to marry a white man? That is not talking negatively about him. That is not going at him. Now, they did present an article and they did start to present, hey, listen, this is how we came together and this is why it's so great to be with Dougie. But then she was dancing with Montel Williams or Montel Jordan or whatever it is. Maybe both. I don't know. But that had nothing to do with the conversation. You know what's so funny? You know what's so objective about me? I defend Michelle Obama. I say her podcast is trash, which it is, because now she's a content creator, right? So I can say, yo, your podcast is trash or whatever. And I also went off on her when she started campaigning for Kamala Harris and she started going off on women and men for going against their husbands or for not going against their husbands. And she was telling people to go against their husband in order to vote for Kamala Harris, 100%. But when y'all start calling Michelle Obama Michael, oh, man. When y'all start calling Michelle Obama Michael, I say, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I defend Michelle Obama when y'all start saying that it's a man and it's Michael, whatever. I say, nope, I'm not participating. And when Slimmy go down that dark road on After Hours, I say, no, Slimmy, don't do it. No, Slimmy, don't do it. Y'all see, look at y'all talking about Big Mike. Y'all so evil. Y'all so evil. I don't agree. I don't agree whatsoever. I say that y'all should leave the kids alone. You have never seen me do a report on our kids. Y'all have never, ever seen me ever. There has been reports. There has been people, oh, her kids is doing that. The kids is not public figures. The kids are not content creators. The kids did not do a campaign. The kids is not advocating for anybody to become president of the United States of America. Leave Sasha and Malalia, or whatever her name is, alone. I think y'all need to leave their kids alone, 100%. You have never, not one time of all of the thousands of articles and videos that I've done, you've never, ever seen me get on her kids. Ever. It's easy to attack. It's easy to go after, but I think that I think we got to have a cutoff point. I think we have to make sure that we have a cutoff point, 100%. You got to keep it G. There's certain lines that you just can't cross. And Jasmine Crockett is a politician being paid by, even if I was to do it, I could justify it by saying that I'm not being paid by American taxpayer dollars. But I think that it's a line that you shouldn't cross. And I think that she's absolutely hypocritical, because if she's not going to hold Kamala Harris to the same standard, then you shouldn't be talking about Byron Donalds. Simple as that.
And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot mess, honey. It's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right? All I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Let me tell you, we have a thug in charge of the United States. We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your. We are going to make sure you understand what democracy looks like.
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Off.
And you know what's the funniest part about this? She wasn't even like this before. Jasmine Crockett was nothing like this. This is not how she came into the game. She was not profane. She was not sassy. She was not all of this stuff. This is an image that she cultivated for herself to be the bad girl of the Democratic Party.
She's not going anywhere, and she's adding to that montage reel every single day with something new.
You know, first of all, she's cosplaying. She's trying to be the new AOC. I'm so cool. I'm so hip.
Hold on, dog. Hold on, dog. He got extra hair, which I'm not mad at. Look like he got some extra hair up in there. You know what I'm saying? We could tell the difference. And where your stash at, dog? Black men, respectfully, we have to at least have a mustache. I don't know. Where did y'all get this from? Did y'all get this from Brian Gumble? What is up with our men today? What when y'all wake up in the morning and you say, you know what? I'm going with a new look. I almost messed up the other day and I said, you know what? I'm going to start all over and I'm going to cut my beard down and I'm going to just start all over because whatever. When y'all decide that y'all want to rock out with a new look, why do y'all cut off your stash too? Do y'all know that y'all look like grown babies? You can't, under any circumstances, no matter what happens, you cannot cut your stash off. We could figure it out with the beard. We don't care really about your hair unless you got like a comb over or something like that. But other than that, it's a stash. It's only the stash. Deborah, you said no, not all women care for facial hair. Really? What is up with the stash thing? Y'all know who this guy is?
I can talk in an accent like this, and I think a lot of it, what you're seeing, is an act. I think she's, I'm the young Maxine Waters. I'm the this, I'm the that.
Weird.
Do your job. How about some bills? You're a congressperson, right? Are we voting on anything that you've actually proposed? Have you written anything? If the answer is no, maybe you ought to get back to your job and focus on that. But I think the real issue here, for me personally, is it's racism. Can you imagine?
What the hell is going on with that lineup on the sides? That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna get some there's nothing wrong with a couple of enhancements, but if you're gonna get some enhancements, they got to be right. Cause like the enhancement, you know how you got the it go like this, and then it go around like that, What the heck is going on there? It's like they just put it on there. Put the enhancement on there. You gotta get the enhancement all the way kitted up. You know what I'm saying? You can't do a half enhancement. You gotta do the full enhancement, and you ain't got no stash? Nah, dog. Nah, bro. Nope. That's not right. That's not right. I don't know what that is. And don't tell me not to criticize it, because we look at the women and we evaluate them too, especially the newscasters. So, anyways, neither here nor there. Make sure y'all hit a like for the I don't know what's going on out here in these streets. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read a couple of super chats. I want to get over to Stephen A. Smith. Chris Cunningham says, oh, man, she not married. Now it explains why. Single women keeping women single. Facts. Moses King in the building says, Byron has been married for 20 plus years. Jasmine Cockroach wish she had a spouse like Byron. Facts. Y'all cooking today. I thought she liked being called Mike. Y'all so ignorant. Y'all so ugly. He looked like Keenan on SNL. Executive Suite MLE says, play the Jay Crockett prank call. Being herself. Nah, I can't. I'm already behind on time. The beard is a manly badge of courage, AD. Shout out to Elizabeth Williams. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notification. Mark the Guardian says, sorry, bro, a clean face feels good. That's you, big dog. Listen, Mark, I'm not tripping about the beard. So you telling me you can't have no stash? For the guys that ain't got no stash, y'all let me know. What's going on? For the guys that got no stash, let me know how do y'all get to that point? Pass the love offering dude look like a puppet. He does. It look crazy. I bet his haircut ends in 99 cents. Pro Cuts. They got a something like haircuts for men or something like that. Definitely grew up with a Brian Gumble poster beside. Ain't nothing wrong with Brian Gumble. Brian Gumble used to be great. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. The barber's ruler moved. Why it wasn't no fade to it though? I'm gonna get me some hair in like 2.5, 3 months. All right. One day I'm just gonna pop up with hair young. I'm like, dang, he got waves and everything. Oh my God. I'm about to get me some hair. Yes, I am. About to get me some hair. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Stephen A. Smith is being accused of being MAGA. Let's spend a few minutes on this. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. Yes, I am getting me some hair. And turn on your notifications.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. I want to get to
Come on, Stephen. Look, Stephen ain't never had no stash either, and that's always been bothersome for me. I don't know what Stephen A. Smith. So when he decided to do this show, he said, you know what? I want to show off my guns. I'm going to go cut off sleeves. I'm going to go a cut off sleeve hoodie. Where do you get a cut off sleeve hoodie at, bro? Oh, God. All right, let's stick to the message. Good God.
An article written about me recently by a gentleman from MSNBC.
Where do y'all get an armless hoodie? Where do you get the cutoff sleeve hoodie at? Do they sell cutoff sleeve hoodies?
His name is Jahan Jones, and he essentially called me a mouthpiece for the far-right MAGA movement. He cites the appearances of Candace Owens, Sean Hannity, and other prominent voices from the right on this podcast as reasons for his premise. Here's a portion of what he wrote on MSNBC.com in an article titled, ESPN Stephen A. Smith is a megaphone for MAGA propaganda. Jones says, quote, Stephen A. Smith's embrace of the MAGA movement and its influencers has only continued. In recent days, for example, he has spoken with right-wing commentators Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, and Bill O'Reilly. You might be thinking that these were adversarial chats between a left-leaning centrist and a conservative. But to adroit listeners, they can come across more as conservatives in friendly discussion than anything else. Smith's overt politicism seems to fly in the face of ESPN's apparent effort in recent years to deter some of its talent from speaking on controversial political matters. Either way, the network's most recognizable host is now regularly platforming MAGA propaganda at will, end quote. Now, my team reached...
Do y'all think that Stephen A. Smith is actually a Republican at heart? Y'all let me know inside of the chat.
Out to Jones to have a discussion about the article. I wanted to invite him on the show to talk with me.
Why y'all got to go to Turkey just to get y'all some hair? Y'all they only offer hair in Turkey? Y'all be like get the hair to where you grow it out and it's like a Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, and then they take the back of your head and then they put it in the front of your head. I guess that's something that you would only do in the wintertime, right? Because the summertime you got to get outside, you got to get active. I don't know.
one-on-one personally. I hope we get the opportunity to have that dialogue. He was busy. He didn't avoid the call or anything like that. There was no comment or anything like that. He didn't say
Y'all said y'all do
anything.
think that he
very,
MAGA.
very busy.
Okay.
I hope we called it the last minute. No shade on him. That's why it didn't happen. But in the meantime, let me express to you what I think about what he wrote. I think that's the exact problem with the left. You see, if I don't agree with you, I must be MAGA.
Y'all said Stephen A. Smith is being dressed by Safari.
I'm platforming MAGA propaganda. Is that so? I don't view it that way. First of all, even though I lean left, particularly with how I vote with presidential elections, I want to emphasize that I've always been a centrist my entire life. I've never once described myself as a Democrat or a Republican.
Doesn't matter.
I'm a centrist. I'm a moderate.
No, you're
I don't
not.
trust either side.
Cap.
I'm not on one side or the other, hook, line, or sinker.
Cap.
You will see images or you'll hear me rattle off names of people who've been on this show. Yes, you see Ben Shapiro there. Yes, you see Bill O'Reilly there. Yes, I was recently on Megyn Kelly's show. Did you know I'm on News Nation with Chris Cuomo every week? Did you know that I just appeared with Jake Tapper on CNN?
That's true.
Do you know I've been on MSNBC on several occasions?
That is true, too.
Do you know, yes, Sean Hannity is my friend. It's not because of his politics. It's because I've known the man for 23 years, and I know him outside of politics. And I appreciate the relationship that we have. I'm not apologizing for that. Let me add another name so you can further excoriate me. Mark Levin, the great one. That's what they call him on Conservative Talk Radio. I know him well, too. I've also had Clay Travis on this show before. I know him as well, at least a little bit, not as well as the other two. Okay? That is absolutely, positively factual. Can I give you a couple other names, Jahan Jones? Would you allow me to? People that have been on this show. Yes, Candace Owens was on this show. Absolutely true. And you brought up the right wingers. You brought up Hannity and Megyn Kelly. And like I said, Ben Shapiro. You even knocked me for, saying that Ben Shapiro's a brilliant dude. Just because you disagree with him don't make him dumb.
He's not capping. I mean, listen. Y'all use that so loosely. You use the cap. Oh, no, that's cap. Nope. He's not capping about him being on other people's platforms. You can actually go and research it. You can look it up. And Stephen A. Smith has multiple people on his platform. He's had Roland Martin on his platform. And at the same time, he's had Candace Owens on his platform. He's also had Ben Shapiro. I don't believe that Stephen A. Smith is liberal. I think that he's still trying to prevent himself from being overly criticized by the black community and the people that support him the most because he understands the game and he understands the bag. I have to applaud Stephen A. Smith, honestly, because Stephen A. Smith as a creator, as a visible person, as a person that has to talk about things outside of politics but invited himself to be a part of, the political conversation, I have to applaud him for being able to effectively straddle the line so that he can still get his bag and appear to be in the middle, to appear to be independent, to appear to be in the middle, centrist, as he likes to describe it. I have to applaud Stephen A. Smith because, let's be clear, the bag is the bag, and it's not capping to say that he's had conversations with people from both sides. I personally believe that Stephen A. Smith is a MAGA supporter. I don't think that he's extreme in his support for the Republican Party, but I think that he 100%, I even believe that he voted for the Republican Party, but he still feels as though it's necessary to appeal to as many people as possible by saying that he's independent, that he's in the center, and he wants to talk to both people. So he's straddling the line between both. I believe that personally he's conservative, especially with the way that he votes, but I think that he's doing a brilliant job in staying right in the middle, especially when it comes to the fact that he still has to appear on ESPN. But you cannot tell me at any point that he doesn't believe in what's going on with the Democratic Party and all of the things that he talk about and he go off on the Democrats about. He's going off about things that he believes is wrong, which means that he's standing on the other side of that conversation. But from an optics perspective, as a content creator, as a person that is on ESPN talking basketball, he has to appear in the middle. But it's not cap to say that he's talked to people from both sides. That's not cap.
Dude is smart. He's very smart. But did you bring up Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania? Did you bring up Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland?
He's showing the proof right here. He's literally showing the proof. So I don't know how y'all saying that he's capping.
Jeffries, the minority leader for the House of Representatives of the United States of America. He was on this show. Did you bring up Areva Martin, legal analyst on the left, was a part of Kamala Harris's campaign? Oh, by the way, on the show on several occasions.
Dean Murray says the fact that he's up there trying to defend himself makes me ask the question, who determines who and what black culture needs to support? Okay.
Did you bring up Cory Booker, senator for the state of New Jersey, who's also been on this show? How about Cornel West? Remember when he was on the show? He's been there. It's videos. John Jones, I mean, you're a very busy guy, I assume. You might have missed this. All of these people were on my show. Michael Cohen, who's the biggest critic, the former lawyer for Donald Trump, who excoriates him at every turn. He was on the show. Oh, how many times has Roland Martin been on the show? Let's not forget him. I've had folks from both sides. Let me tell you something else. Did you know that Gavin Newsom has been invited here on numerous occasions and still hasn't accepted? Did you know that Kamala Harris was invited on here during the run for the presidency, during the election? She didn't come on. Did you know Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, he was invited on here, didn't come? Oh, by the way, did you know that Andrew Cuomo was on? Came on the show for an hour. Did you know that the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, was on the show for an hour? If they came on the show and they spoke, is it propaganda?
Somebody said, why would he come on here and defend himself? Well, for a couple of different reasons. Because he's always done that. He's always defended himself about things that he was passionate about. If you had a big enough voice or it got a lot of views, number one. And then number two is because it's additional content. It's good. It's content. Listen, at the end of the day, y'all got to understand that if you are a public figure, you are essentially a content creator. That's just the way that it is. He has his own platform and has done really well. He has over 1 million subscribers. It continues to go up. It's because it's content. If I believe that something is big enough for me to address and I think that it can get a lot of traction as a result of it, guess what? I am going to use it because it is content. And content is king.
Or is it how they feel? See, that's what you're missing in all of this. Do I agree with everything Megyn Kelly says? No. Do I agree with everything Sean Hannity says? No. Do I agree with anything that any of those folks on the right feel? So, I don't agree with everything, but they feel that way. And so now we have to get into a discussion as to whether or not they have a right to express their points of views and whether or not you have a salient point to debunk what they're going to throw in our direction before you excoriate them. You work for MSNBC. Let's talk about MSNBC for a second. Did you know that Joy Reid was invited on the show?
You said time to retire. Why would he retire and he just got a $100 million 5-year contract? Are y'all crazy?
I'm not happy that her show is gone. Jahan, I am not happy.
I am.
I respect Joy Reid. Did I agree with everything she said? No. Do I agree with how she did some things? No. Because if you come across as too vitriolic as a black person, I know in corporate America, that's going to be counted against you more than it's going to be counted for you.
Only if you don't have no ratings.
I get that part. But I also knew the dramatic drop in the ratings that they said took place since the election ended.
Yep.
I saw Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, who I respect. But they bought in to calling Trump and alluding to certain things when it came to Trump. Now, I don't remember whether it was specifically Nazis or other things, but certainly their rhetoric towards him was incendiary. And what happened after he won the election? They were at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, I don't think that Stephen A. Smith should not play the game that in the way that it's going to get him paid, because at the end of the day, it's all about money. All right, it's all about content, it's all about money, and it's all about staying relevant. There's plenty of people that y'all think that are cool and they don't have a show no more. I recently seen Joy Reid on Don Lemon's show, and Don Lemon was trying to give her pointers on how she can create her own platform and basically become a YouTuber and a content creator. I don't think that she has it. I don't think that she has it. And I think that there's a lane for left-leaning people. I think that there is a lane for right-leaning people. And I think that, you know, if you brand yourself a certain way, then you will be successful as a content creator. But at the end of the day, I do believe that Stephen A. Smith is a Republican at heart. I do think that he would prefer, if he could get away with it and still get the money and the visibility, I think that he would prefer to label himself as a conservative, but he'll just say, I'm a conservative with my dollars, but I'm a liberal when it comes to people being able to do what they want to do. And it's not unfair for people to characterize him as such. But at the same time, I do think that he's conservative, but I do think that he got to straddle the line so that he can appeal to the biggest audience ever and still get that $100 million. So that's my thoughts on it. Let me read a few more super chats, and then I'm going to go ahead and get y'all out of here for today. It's been a show. Kind of went back faster than I thought it was going to go, but it's been a show today. Jay Anderson the Great says, AD, some jobs require you to be facial free. That's true, but not the jobs that we criticizing some of these people for. I agree. I had to take a respirator test when I was working in a plant, so I had to cut off all of my facial hair. I grew that junk back ASAP, though. Anton gonna have baby hairs and jerry curls in a few months like a bad bee. I don't like how he half-steps his conservatism. Well, it's all for the bag. Context matters. Context matters, all right? Anyways, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon tomorrow. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Wednesday, we are going to still have a show, but it is going to be premiered. And life is good. Life is good. Q show tonight. Life is good. All right? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for continuing to hold me down. I'm going to see y'all tonight. Peace.